Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the FearFans podcast. I'm your host, Don Elmy, and with me is my co-host, Nick Muley. And we have a great show for you tonight. Because this is the last Tuesday before Thanksgiving, one of my favorite times of the year. And I figured we should focus on a film that, it goes over birds because, Thanksgiving, we have turkey. And I knew that for our first Thanksgiving special, we weren't going to focus on that one movie that a few of my friends have been suggesting, Thanksgiving.
I
Yeah,
already know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, I figured I don't want to start off with that, something that with a movie that goofy. So I decided to go to focus on the one very, very remarkable film that focuses on birds, the Alfred Hitchcock classic, The Birds. And Nick, this is one of my favorite Hitchcock films, and it's actually the first Alfred Hitchcock movie that I've seen. And I've told you about this earlier, Nick, that the first time I saw this film was when I was 7 years old. It was January 1st, 2000. So I started off the new year and the new millennium with my first Hitchcock film.
Wow. And what better way than to see? That's why I had to turn off the camera. I wanted to dress up for this occasion.
There you go.
I always do when it comes to. I always do when shows when particular holidays coming up. I always like to dress up for that occasion. But well, it's not only just good to see you, Jeremy, but it's also worth noting too. It's really even though it's not really a Thanksgiving horror film, it's as close as we could really ever get because the real Thanksgiving horror films that do exist, they're absolutely terrible. Not just that one you mentioned.
Yeah,
so
I know what you mean, man.
You ever got.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because most people like. I swear, like there are like a few like rip-offs of the birds because obviously with a success like this, people are going to want to cash in on it. I believe one of them was called Beaks, which ended up being horrible.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I think it had what was his name, Christopher Atkins, if I remember correctly. He was in that, and of course I should mention the terrible sequel released on TV in 1994, The Birds 2: Land's End.
Almost 30 years, over 30 years later. Hey, Jenny's on. Good to see ya. What's up? I love what Jeremy says. Like, there's no Thanksgiving horror films? Hold my beer.
Oh man, yeah, Jeremy, don't do something you're going to end up regretting because the director of Birds 2, like he like felt so embarrassed about that film that he actually used a pseudonym like in order to work on this. You know who really directed The Birds 2, Nick? You might find this shocking.
Uh-oh, should I be scared?
Rick Rosenthal, who directed Halloween 2 and Halloween Resurrection.
What?
Yep.
Oh, come on. Damn it.
I know.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I mean, he did so under the name. Hold on, I wrote it down. Alan Smithy. Yeah, because
man,
he obviously
you disappoint me. Not you, him.
Yeah. So he went from directing a fairly decent sequel to a horror classic to directing a horrible sequel to a Hitchcock classic.
Oh my God. What the hell was he thinking?
I mean, he obviously used a pseudonym because he felt like, oh man, I'm putting myself in a bad spot here. I mean, yeah, you think?
Oh, what the hell? Come on.
Yeah, I only saw like years ago, I only saw a few clips. Like the first few minutes of it were just horrible.
I'm not surprised.
So yeah,
Jeremy.
So everyone
currently brainstorming short story ideas, horror and other. They are rather unique. Sarah, it was. How can I explain this? Why don't you explain that, Don?
Okay, Sarah, we were just discussing. I was telling Nick about the terrible sequel to The Birds, which was a TV made film. Yeah, it never made it into theaters, and it was made by the man who directed Halloween 2. It's like, come on, Rick Rosenthal, you're better than this.
Yeah, exactly. Roland last week. That's really disturbing. Really,
hey, Jeremy, I can guarantee you, whatever you write is definitely going to be better than Birds 2. I guarantee you. But anyway, so back to The Birds. So released in 1963, about 3 years after Psycho. I mean, Yeah, and yeah, another, which is my second favorite horror film of all. And there were like several very unique aspects to the birds, as far as characters, acting, and and also the shots, the cinematography, and let's see what else. Oh, also the animation. Like this was like
Yeah, I
done with
know.
oh yeah, this has been done with a lot of rotoscoping, and this was like long before the years of green screen.
And CGI. And Sarah, hey Sarah, says most directors haven't been able to capture Hitchcock's style.
That is very true. Like he truly was a visionary. He was very unique in his art of filmmaking.
What's up, Jill? Good to see you.
Hey, Jill. Thank you so much for joining us, Jill. Yep, we are going over the first Hitchcock film I've ever seen, The Birds, and I gotta say, like I think back to that, I was up at Galena with my family, celebrating New Year's, and I was only 7 years old when I first saw this film, and man, it left an impression on me.
You know, these movies you've seen at such a young age, you've had an interesting childhood.
That I did. So, hey, there are some of these films I have here in this collection that I saw at a young age that my parents didn't even know about, like like like
Oh my
like
god.
yeah, like I said, Evil Dead. Saw that when I was 10 years old after I snuck it from my sister's slumber party.
Can you imagine basically like you see all these movies that you were not supposed to see as a kid, and all of a sudden you say that, and your parents are like cops all of a sudden. It's like, is that a confession? Oh no, now I made a confession.
Yep. I had to wait until I was an adult to finally confess.
Jeremy makes a good point here. The thing about trying to recreate Hitchcock is that it would be near impossible doing so because he broke all the rules, whereas now there are pretty much no rules anymore.
Well, he makes a good point. I mean, Hitchcock did challenge, the whole standards of filmmaking. He did a lot of experimentation. He did a lot of, well, he crossed a lot of lines that people did not dare to. I mean, and also I should point out one of the things that I remember most about this film, like there is one thing missing from this that we often have in movies. What do you think that one thing is?
Uh
The one thing that he did not use.
CGI.
No,
Um I thought he used just about everything.
no. There's one element in cinema that he didn't use in this film that
Oh
makes it
wait, wait,
pretty
wait, wait,
unique.
wait, wait. It just came back. I know it now. There's no soundtrack at all.
Yeah, there's no
No
music in this
music.
film.
None.
Yep,
And I mean,
yep.
since it originally been released, yes, it is true. I mean, there have been people who've made their own soundtracks to kind of add to it, but like obviously the original version more than anything else, there's no background track ever. You don't hear any music even in the beginning. In fact, the only time any type of music is ever heard is in the trailer itself, and that's it.
Oh yeah, yep. Only for that trailer that I remember seeing that years ago. That trailer is like one of the longest trailers I've seen, like 6 minutes, and
I thought it was 5 minutes.
like 5 or 6 minutes, one of those two. Yeah. Oh, here. Oh, Jill guessed blood, but no, there
Well,
was
no,
blood in
no,
this film.
there was blood in the birds.
Oh yeah, not a graphic amount of blood per se, but there was blood present.
Well,
But yeah,
there was one scene that was pretty graphic and gory. Let's be honest here. You know what I'm
I know
talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That left quite an impression on a 7-year-old me. That left an impression. Like seeing that, that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I love about this film. Like that scene is demonstrates how he's able to build tension with just well-timed editing and shots without music. He doesn't use any build up like that through and where it just slowly builds up to where Lydia just goes upstairs to find her friend had birds attack his room and eyes pecked out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a
I do
pretty
love this.
horrific scene.
Yeah, I do love the zoom shots that like it gets closer and closer to his face before she just runs out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like you didn't expect that, to be honest.
yeah. Hitchcock was amazing with editing. Seriously.
It was. Yeah, and Jill makes a good point. Loves the build up. And then Jeremy also wrote Hitchcock decided to do without any conventional incidental score. Instead, he made use of sound effects and sparse source music in counterpoint to calculated silences.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much the way Hitchcock wanted that to go down. And
I'm just gonna show this quickly. When I said about the confession, Joe was like, "I confess, I did that one thing."
oh man, but watch. I
Bill's
watched
a big
Hitchcock a
Hitchcock
lot.
fan.
So did I. I still have that collection that I got from my buddy Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah, which has yeah, it has all the good ones with the exception of North by Northwest. That's another favorite that I'm surprised is not in this collection.
yeah. Hitchcock broke apart things that were socially acceptable.
Very true. He wanted to go past the limits and like see what he can do with make him create his own art, bring his own artistic visions to life. He was phenomenal with it. He liked to mimic the camera using it in the voyeuristic
Voyeuristic
sense.
sense.
That Yep, spot on.
You
Exactly
know,
true.
Jill, the phrase can be turned very naughty very quick. Hey,
Oh, Jesus.
what do you expect?
Keep it clean, Jeremy. So, yeah, this film, like, I just love how they don't like focus on the birds attacking people like immediately. They just have a steady build up to it. They want you, like Hitchcock wanted you to get to know the characters first, and get to know who is going to be the focus of the story. Like, and I just love how in the beginning they started off with him having a brief cameo walking out of that pet store with two dogs as Tibby Hedren went inside.
Well, what's interesting is that those dogs that he walks were actually his own dogs in reality.
Not
Those,
surprised.
those, yeah, I mean, that's probably typical for a lot of, film directors or whatever. They usually would never really borrow someone else's dogs. I could sure understand that those were most likely his own.
Yep. This is another example of that. When Steven Spielberg made Jaws, there was a scene at the Brody house. Actually, there were a couple scenes at the Brody house where there was a little dog there. That was Steven Spielberg's real dog.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
Let's see. And they never resolve while the birds are attacking. You're absolutely right on that.
Yep. They didn't give an explanation because it really builds that whole mystique, the whole mystery, like the unknown. Why are the birds attacking? We don't know. That's what makes it
We
more
don't
the
ever
concept.
know.
Yep. That's what makes
I
the
mean,
concept all the more terrifying.
there are websites, of course, nowadays that supposedly give a like actual explanation of like why the birds are attacking. Like there are theories, but the worst part of it is that there's no way to confirm that this is like the actual reason. So that's why again it gives that unknown feeling to it.
Oh yes. Yeah, it's like I just think of how it's like, yeah, when Michael Myers in Halloween, like I've said before, how he like you never know what is really driving him to commit all the killings. He's just the personification of pure evil. I feel like that whole mystique that would like I meant as I've stated before was completely destroyed with the sequels and those remakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some people are saying here, also loved Rear Window. That's a cool one with suspenseful buildups and handsome actors and actresses as usual. Oh, you had Jimmy Stewart in it. So
Jimmy Stewart and Raymond Burr, who
Raymond Burr.
yep, I remember him in Godzilla, the American version.
Yeah, which I was gonna say, ironically enough, yeah, he did Rear Window, and then 2 years later he did Godzilla King of the Monsters that most people remember most of. And he also did Perry Mason.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, Rear Window. That's another classic that I love. It's I have that. Like I said, I have that in my collection. But anyway, yeah, like he used a fairly unique styles with the editing, the camera. Like it was like really spot on, building that suspense of this whole whole murder story. And I should mention, Nick, they actually did create a more modern version of.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
wrong chat.
Okay. Hey Nick, yeah, they actually did create a modern version of Rear Window. It was called Disturbia. That had
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Disturbia.
yeah, it had Shia LaBeouf. Let's see, Carrie
Yep.
Ann Moss. Yeah, from The
People
Matrix.
call it like a modern update of Rear Window. Like if it was like an original film and made in the early 2000s instead of the 50s. So you're absolutely right on that. Hey, what's going on, Irene? Good to see you. A reminder, Don, she's from all the way from Japan herself.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Irene, I just had to like mention when he mentioned Raymond Burr, I had to throw Godzilla in there because I'm a big fan.
Yep,
I probably got half the movies. So
me too. I love Godzilla as well, which eventually we are going to do an episode of talking about Godzilla.
yeah, what I'm thinking, Nick, is at some point we need to call it like the original era of Godzilla.
The Showa era.
Yes, I figured we should like since it's a big franchise, I want to discuss it like piece by piece. Go
Piece
over
by piece. Yeah,
go over
I like
go
it.
yeah, go over that era, go over the next era. Let's see, there was like the millennium,
The Heisei era,
yeah,
the Millennium era.
yes, and let's see, and also the legendary era. The new Godzilla movies.
Yep, legendary era. You got it.
Yes.
Um, I'm just going back to some of the other comments about what some of the other. I'm looking at some of the other comments to what everybody else thinks about why these birds were attacking. Jill says maybe it's a biblical reference.
Oh yeah, and well, there was a guy who was like drinking, who was like kept saying it's the end of the world. So maybe he was like thinking, oh, maybe this is from the Bible. Yeah.
Then Jeremy says, think it has something to do with the magnetic field.
Or it could just be the birds getting back at us for eating them for Thanksgiving and for hunting them.
Well,
So,
if you kind of think about it, for a movie like The Birds, this is one possible theory, but we always see these movies like it's not only just The Birds, because since the original the Birds have came out, there have been other movies made with animals turning on humans, and what were once harmless creatures that we love are now extremely dangerous. It kind of even has, when you think about it, a little bit of almost like an alien reference, if you will, because it's the same thing with alien movies. Like they're always usually portrayed like as the antagonists,
yeah.
but the raw reality is, when you think about it, the real antagonist in reality is us. I mean, let's be honest. I'm sure we've all heard, you've heard this, I've heard this, we've all probably heard this dozens of times. We are probably in reality the most destructive beings in the entire universe. We are just destroying our planet
No
almost
doubt.
every day. And that includes, killing a lot of wildlife. I mean, yes, understandably, we've done that for hundreds, if not thousands of years,
Oh,
like
yeah.
for food, clothing, whatever. But
Oh,
there's just other people who just want to outright kill them just for fun.
yeah.
So a movie like The Birds, again, not necessarily explaining why these birds are attacking, this is almost like nature's way of kind of fighting back, getting revenge on us for disrespecting the earth. It's like this is the earth's revenge of claiming what is originally the planets, if you will.
Oh yeah, because I remember ages ago, like when I was very little, I saw this really terrible movie called Frogs, where the animals attack.
I just saw that it was on Svengoolie a couple weeks
Oh,
ago.
yeah, that movie's horrible. I mean, it's like it's called Frogs, but yet all animals are attacking people just
Yeah, the
because.
frogs don't even attack once. They never actually. Svengoolie even brings that up. He's like, in spite of seeing all these frogs that you see, they never once actually do anything. All the other animals do the work for them. Although I will still say, though, it was cool to see Ray Milland in that movie.
Yeah, that's probably the only good thing about it.
Do you remember the credits too, right? Where there was that animated frog. I'm like, what the hell? The hell is this all about?
I never really got why they did that.
Nick, you might have to break out the Ouija board and ask
No,
him.
no, I am never. I'm gonna say this right now. I will never touch a Ouija board ever. No.
Yeah. Geez, there's a couple more theories. Or like being cursed and attacked. Yes, evil coming for you.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking right now, like about the windows in my condo. Yeah, if the birds was real, then yeah, my condo's not safe at all.
Yeah. He was obsessed with creating suspense and fear. I bet he would hate how horror. Oh yeah, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, he'd hate the birds too. Like
No.
yeah, I saw the first 5 minutes and immediately I'm just thinking of like, how could you make a sequel to this to a Hitchcock classic? I mean, he would be embarrassed if he saw that.
I didn't know about this that Sarah put. He had speakers in the trees outside the movie theaters playing bird sounds.
I've read about that.
I didn't know that. That's got. I'm sure that was to add the terror and suspense.
Yeah, he was toying with the audience.
Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up because the comments are really coming in. you'd have to do a whole series of episodes if you were to do Godzilla. Oh, absolutely. Up, and Irene said she'll be showing up for that one.
Irene, I gotta say, I'm looking forward to covering the Godzilla franchise in the future.
If that's the case, wouldn't it be called the Turkeys? It
It would
would be behavioral, perhaps like a form of territorialism.
maybe.
Might be. Hey, Donald, good to see you.
Hi.
Martin, good to have you on. We would
Hi,
need
Nick.
another apex predator keep us in check. Yeah, so it's very likely too. Could it be territory that they're attacking, or they're reclaiming territory? I mean, you have to think again, this goes back to the theory of how we treat the earth. You have to think birds have been around, probably longer than us. And
Definitely longer than us.
there's probably far more birds than there are humans on this entire planet. So the fact that we have spent the last few hundred years building all these towns and cities, basically it's just like anything else. You're building on an area that was probably once predatory territory. And this is once again a possibility that these birds, again, maybe finally having enough of human mistreatment that they're reclaiming their territory.
That could be it.
Let's say the universal, definitely the world. Godzilla was created because man was polluting the land. She wanted to stop man from making the land live. See that again? It's like another response to how human mistreatment acts.
Oh yes, I've always. It was one thing I always loved about Godzilla. It's the metaphor, the symbolism of him, because Godzilla was created like when it was heavily inspired by the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the constant nuclear testing that was going on at the time. And
that's correct.
Yep. And so the Toho decided to create a monster that was meant to be like a metaphor of nature taking its revenge on mankind for the use and development of nuclear weapons.
You're absolutely right.
Because when you really think about it, Godzilla really is a living nuclear weapon, that atomic breath. Yeah. And, and despite what a few people think, no, that's not fire. That's a beam of concentrated radiation that he spews out from his breath.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jill's right. Yeah, it's very true. Very true. Frogs have no teeth. Yeah, so that's the reason why that's probably one of the reasons why they never attack in that movie.
But their skin does secrete toxins, but I'm pretty sure the frogs don't want people to kill don't want to kill people just by merely having them touch them. So they just have bigger animals do it for them.
Can't be any worse than Killer Tomatoes.
Killer Tomatoes was intentionally silly.
I've never seen Killer Tomatoes. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Killer Tomatoes was not meant to be a serious film like some of these ripoffs are.
I figured it wasn't. Yeah, like Retaliation. The Blob remake was good. You know what? Yeah, I will agree that.
Love the Blob remake, man.
Yeah, it definitely was great.
Oh yes.
Of course, huge fan of 80s B horror. Yes, awesome, Donald.
So am I.
And I was gonna say, did he possibly have a fear of anxiety of a bunch of birds probably attacking him once, maybe?
Could be. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, there actually is some people actually do have a fear of birds. I keep forgetting. There's a word for it. I keep forgetting the name of it. It's some kind of a phobia, but birds don't really. I mean, birds are probably only responsible for like probably 3 to 5 deaths per year. That's probably what happens to some idiot who decides to throw rocks at a hawk or something, or
yeah.
Or
see, I'll be honest with you. I mean, if you remember, Don, like several years ago, I actually thought we were going to get attacked by a hawk. Now, almost 10 years ago, because do you remember like when we were caring for those baby rabbits? Remember that when we were protecting like a nest, like that was in the ground area, and we were putting a table up, like because right near that tall tree that you're familiar with, there was a hawk, and somehow it saw that nest. I mean, you have to remember, certain birds, including hawks, in spite being really far away, they have really good eyesight.
Yep.
And I keep looking up, and I looked up, and even though he was really high up in the tree, I could tell he was looking at me dead in the eye. Like I was looking at him, he was looking at me. And I actually started getting really nervous because I'm thinking, we're disrupting this hawk's eventual lunch. It wanted to eat these baby rabbits.
Yeah.
and I was kind of scared that it was ready to swoop down and start pecking at us because we were getting in its way. But eventually, we were able to cover up that entire nest, temporarily until the hawk eventually gave up. But no, I'll be honest, I almost thought we were going to be under a serious bird attack because we were interrupting its eventual lunch.
Oh yeah, those hawks, they're always on the lookout for food, no matter what. Yeah, that makes me think of that one viral video I saw a few years back where it's called "Bunnies Can Fly Proof," where a family was like taking care of a baby rabbit, and then they just when they let it go, it was like it started running off, and not even 5 or 10 seconds after they let it go, a hawk swoops down and takes it away.
Yeah, they don't mess around. They
Yeah,
really don't.
I remember seeing that, and I'm just like, oh man, nature is messed up.
Yeah, it is. Damn, nature, you scary. I had to say it.
Oh man, that line.
Sarah says, oh, she has a point here. Birds definitely have some form of psychic sense. They always when I just washed my car. Pickle Tom, he's on.
Hey,
He's in the house. Good to see Pickle Tom.
Oh, and Tom has
Orthanophobia.
Yeah, that's what that fear of birds is called.
There are two: Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
God,
both equally bad, intentionally bad.
did anyone like the frog movie try to try to lick a frog?
That just makes me think of that episode of Family Guy, the early season, like an early episode of Family Guy where all the high school kids started licking a toad to get high.
I remember that one.
It's like I don't know, and Nick, I just want to say I don't know if that is possible in real life, and I don't want to know.
I'm not gonna try it. No, thank you.
Nor would I. Just the thought of that is disgusting.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Jeez.
Oh, Irene here also points out we have poisonous frogs that excrete white milky poison from their body.
Oh yeah, I mean there are types of frogs that even like I believe like natives have used in in several countries, like tribes. They will create poison darts they use poison secreted by frogs. Hence yeah, that's why we call like that one species of frog called poison dart frog. For that reason.
Right, and that was something I'm actually quite familiar with because that was something that was quite heavily used, not only just in not just only probably for people in Japan, but other parts of Asia. But I also know even some Native American tribes were known to have used that as a weapon too, as an means of defense here in the United States.
Yep.
Boarding House.
I've got to. That's on my list. I got to check the one out because I got to tell you, I got dozens of horror films I have not seen yet on my list that I will get to. Yeah, I will get them at some point.
Jeez, everybody's telling the phobia. Not me. I can't remember what he was saying in response. Husband fights with the crows every garbage day. It's hilarious. It can be quite a nuisance. Yeah. Especially in the Amazon basin.
She's referring to the poison dart frogs.
Yeah. So they're probably also known in South America as well.
Yeah. So
that's the last comment. Boarding House, really bad B movie.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
Okay, yeah. Finally got through all those comments. I was just trying to catch up, so now we're all caught up.
I got you. I hear you. So the whole story of the birds is where Melanie, played by Tippi Hedren, is pursuing an attorney that she just met at a pet store, Mitch Brenner, played by Rod Taylor. Let's see, Rod Taylor. No, he's not around anymore. He died 7 years ago.
He died in. Not. Now I got to look it up because it's like I just knew about it a few days ago, and now for some reason I couldn't. Oh no, he died about 7 years, almost 8 years ago in 2015. He was he was 84 years old.
Yeah, let's see. Tippi Hedren's still alive. Let's see, 1930. So she's like 92 now. Jeez,
92. Yeah, she's really. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, probably like only one of a few handful of actors that are still alive to this day.
Mm-hmm. She's lucky to live that long. And I mentioned to you this, Nick, but a lot of people in the audience are probably going to be surprised by this. But I learned recently when researching Tippi Hedren, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the 50 Shades of Grey movies. You're like, and there's the actress who played Anna, Dakota Johnson. I've learned that Dakota Johnson is Tippi Hedren's granddaughter.
Really?
So yeah, Tippi had stated this in an interview, and just saying that her granddaughter is an actress, is known for 50 Shades of Grey, and has stated that she has not seen that movie in any of the movies and has no intention of doing so.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's I don't know what to say about that. That's quite an interesting response.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, Rod Taylor, who played Mitch Brenner.
Excuse me.
Bless you. But Rod Taylor, who played Mitch Brenner in this film, I have seen him in quite a few other movies. Like one that I'm familiar with is where he was the main character in The Time Machine, the original version. I remember seeing that back in grade school. But let's see, he was in that. He was the voice of Pongo in the classic Disney film 101 Dalmatians. And I think the last film that he started before his death, when he played Winston Churchill in the Quentin Tarantino film *Inglourious Bastards*.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I'm
Yep.
surprised that he actually took part in a movie like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I feel like he could nail the accent, a British accent, because I mean, I think he was from Australia, so both of them, the accents are fairly similar, not the same, but just similar.
Worse than Night of the Lepus with DeForest Kelly.
Oh, Night of the Lepus. That's movie's about giant killer. Yeah, that movie's about giant killer rabbits.
Wow.
If you can believe that.
Oh my God. Boarding House, Bad Taste, Rock and Roll Nightmare, Black Roses. That's all these B movies that he's talking about. Oops. Black Roses had a good soundtrack. Lizzie Borden had the soundtrack.
Yep. Look at me, I'm Winston Churchill. I don't think he said that in the film, but yeah,
I don't think so either.
Let's see who else. Oh yeah, there's one other name that was that stood out for me in The Birds. Veronica Cartwright, who played Kathy Brenner, the little girl who was Mitch's little sister. Yep. Because let's see, she was she was very young in this.
She was like 14 when she did that movie.
Around that time, around that age, yes. And she was in. Let's see. She started what? Oh,
it was a Family Guy quote. I knew that already.
I knew that already. Yes. And let's see. So Veronica Cartwright, I know her from. Oh man, my all-time favorite horror film, Alien, when she played Lambert.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, she was, and a year before that, she was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I was about to point that out.
Yep. Oh yeah, and yeah, she was in that. She played the wife of. Oh man, what's Jeff Goldblum? Jeff Goldblum's wife. Yes, and she was also in that that Meh remake from 2007, the one with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's amazing all the work these people do.
Now, I wanted to point something else out, by the way, about The Birds. I don't know if you know about this, Don. Actually, I think most people here wouldn't probably know about this, but did you know that the Birds actually was kind of based off of a true story? Did you know about that?
I think I've read about that somewhere, yeah.
Well, for whether you know it or not, for those who aren't familiar with it, it says here that The Birds was partly inspired by the true events of a mass bird attack on the seaside town of Capitola in California on August 18th, 1961, when Capitol residents awoke to a scene that seemed straight out of a horror movie. Hordes of seabirds were dive bombing their homes, crashing into cars and spewing half-digested anchovies onto lawns. Alfred Hitchcock heard of this event and used it as research material for this film, which was then in progress. Although, unlike the movie where we really never find out why the birds are attacking, in this case, the real cause of the birds' behavior was toxic algae, but that was not known back in the 1960s.
Yeah, like research on birds and about on what's going on in their environments. I mean, that kind of research wasn't as efficient then as it is now.
Exactly. So they didn't know about it back then. I mean, it wasn't discovered until decades later, the cause for their behavior. So that probably also explains why we never find out why the birds are attacking in the film. It's supposed to give that, again, without explanation or reason.
Yep, you just don't know what kind of a dark force is driving all these birds to attack.
Exactly.
And I just love the steady buildup. It's not like all birds attacking right from the get-go. No. There's a buildup. Like first it starts off with one out of nowhere attack, a seagull going down a melody, striking her in the head. And then it just slowly from there, a bird crashing into the door, seagulls swooping down at a birthday party, sparrows coming down a chimney.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing. It's not just seagulls too. Eventually, you start seeing that with sparrows and crows. And even though we never see it, I'm sure it's probably affected other types of birds as well.
Oh yes.
Uh,
Except for the lovebirds.
the lovebirds are the
Yeah.
only ones that aren't affected by this strange effect.
Yeah.
Did you think that content wise it could have stood up being part of Hitchcock hour rather than a full movie? She's talking about uh what's that show called that Hitchcock did?
Oh, Hitchcock Presents.
Hitchcock Presents, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could the toxic algae have come from pollution in the water? Well, you have to think, seagulls do eat particular types of fish. So
Yeah.
it's very likely that the toxic algae, it could have been possible that the fish
Ate algae.
could have ate the algae, and by eating the fish that were infected by it, it could have made them sick and also lose kind of their minds almost.
Oh yeah, I mean something similar actually did happen to them. That infected animals like that. Let's see, in Minamata, Japan, I read this somewhere where a form of mercury was contaminating water supplies and infected the fish, and then the people eating the fish, and then they suffered side effects, and so did like children being born by people who were infected with that. It resulted in birth defects and stillborns.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, toxins, they could you wouldn't believe what kind of things could survive in the water that can cause disastrous results.
There's something else. There's actually a location. I'm looking this up right now about certain behavior of birds in one country. It's been a while. I can't remember where it was located, but I think it might have been somewhere in Mexico of
Mm.
a particular event that occurs with certain birds, which change their behavior. That for some reason during the months of September and October, hundreds of birds dive to their depths. Like for there still has never been a full explanation as to why they do this. But during the months of September and October, like again, these hundreds of birds dive to their deaths, and there's been again theories, possible explanations, but it's just weird. It only occurs during that time of the year.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, they basically wait, maybe if I put down the bird
Yeah.
suicide. Man, I can't see it's oh wait a minute. It's this is in okay, I found it. This is in India. I thought it was in
Oh,
Mexico.
India. Oh,
Uh there it says here there was a place in Assam, I guess I don't know if I'm saying that right, where thousands of birds commit suicide. Jatinga, a scenic village nestling among the Boreal Hills range is quite famous as a bird suicide point. Every year from the month of September to November, Jatinga makes headlines due to the suicide of birds. Not only local birds, but also migratory birds reach this place and commit suicide. The
man.
tendency to commit suicide is common in humans, but it is rare in case of birds. In this village, birds fly fast and hit a building or tree, killing them. The strangest thing is that the birds do this from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. While in normal weather, these birds tend to go out during the day and return to the nest at night. Nearly 40 species of local and migratory birds are involved in this race of suicide. Jatinga remains isolated from the outside world for 9 months due to natural reasons. Not only this, entry into the village at night is prohibited. Bird experts believe that this is what Jeremy was saying earlier. Bird experts believe that magnetic force is the cause of this mysterious phenomenon.
Wow, man.
There's just
That's
there's just
insane.
there's just a little bit left. In the damp and foggy weather, winds blow rapidly, so birds fly near light sourcing objects. Due to the lack of light, they do not see clearly and they collide with a building or trees or vehicles. It was forbidden to drive trains in this village due to lack of light. The people of Jatinga believe some mythical powers or even some extraterrestrial force blends with the winds, which causes the birds to end their lives. They also believe that the mobility of humans amid this can be dangerous. And finally, allegedly, the suicide of birds has been going on since 1910, but the outside world came to know about this in 1957. And in that year, ornithologist EPG, a British tea planter, mentioned about the same in his book Wildlife of India in 1957. Many scientists from India and abroad have done research on this phenomenon, but the exact reason has not yet been ascertained.
Oh man, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, might be electromagnetic.
Could be.
They don't want to face the Christmas holidays.
Oh man. But yeah, and what was I gonna say? Hold on. Oh yeah, I was gonna say the only birds that did not attack in this film were the lovebirds. Probably because they knew they weren't gonna do that much damage to anything anyway inside of a cage.
Well, and if you also think about it too, the lovebirds, unlike a lot of the other birds you see in the film, they're also not native. So
Yeah, they're from
perhaps the effect was
Africa.
they're birds native to Africa. So even just by their looks, you can clearly tell that these are definitely not from the United States. So that probably explains why they're not affected. And even if this was like, let's say if this was a territorial reason, obviously birds coming all the way from Africa, they're not going to claim territory over an area that they're not familiar with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like I mentioned this to you like prior to the podcast, Nick, that I did have there's a childhood friend of mine who actually did have lovebirds. Named Romeo and Juliet. So, yeah,
quite
yeah,
the good names for birds.
Yeah, for sure. And I should mention the amount of birds that they used in this film, well, more than you could guess. Like they used 3,200 birds, and it's like a varieties of seagulls, crows, ravens, sparrows. It was insane.
That had to be very difficult to handle all of them.
Yeah, imagine the amount of bird trainers they had for this film. All the there's just a lot of the budget probably just went to them alone.
Right. Jeremy
Yeah,
here
and
says, Dad and I saw a lot of birds. I mean, a lot of birds today on the power lines when we were coming home today. I've seen many flocks of birds in the past, but nothing like this. It could have been the birds 3 for all I knew.
could be. Brace yourselves, they're coming back.
They're coming back. Oh, Irene here makes a good point. That's probably where our famous Mount Fuji and the lakes around it is dead. And the suicide forest I'm very familiar with is near Mount Fuji. No birds cry, no insects, and nothing lives in that area. And she's absolutely right. I mean, one thing most people know when it comes to the suicide forest is that it is eerily silent. There's little to no wildlife, including birds on the suicide and Alkikahara forest. It's a very unsettling area.
Yeah. Let's see.
Mount Fuji is haunted as well. Yeah, it's haunted by the what's referred to by the Japanese as the Yuri, which is Japanese for angry ghosts.
Oh, yeah, like Mount Fuji. Like, if I ever go to Japan, yeah, Mount Fuji is definitely going to be one of my one of the things I want to see. I mean, I'm not sure obviously you're able to see from a distance. I don't know if you could actually scale it. I don't know what the laws in Japan are as far as that. But.
The forest is located on the base of Mount Fuji. So,
that's right.
Of course, what's interesting about the suicide forest is not only just the eeriness to it. There's actually pieces of tape that people put on the pathways so that people don't get lost. Because in an area like that, people can easily get lost. And most deaths, of course, obviously are suicides, but some people had died because they got lost too. So it definitely does have the label of death. Irene here says you can you can climb the mountain.
Oh, I gotcha.
Now,
yeah, because
go ahead.
There are several countries that I want to visit, such as Ireland, Italy, Japan.
Yep.
Those are my top 3.
You got to visit me. We will. We will, Irene. Oh, she'll take us to it.
Oh, nice.
Now, I should note that my sister a few years ago, along with now her husband, shortly after they got married, they went on a honeymoon to a couple of countries, and one of them was Tokyo, Japan.
Oh,
And
nice.
I had to ask Angela, saying, "Did you guys see Mount Fuji? You know, like as you guys were approaching?" And they said, obviously, they didn't go there, but they did see it from a distance, so they were
Oh,
fortunate enough to see Mount Fuji.
I mean, just the sight of just being there, and actually seeing that in person would be amazing experience. I mean, I've seen pictures, so if,
Yeah, it's a symbol of Japan.
I mean, for me, I just know obviously pictures don't always, do it. You got to like actually being there is what would be a remarkable experience.
It is. It really is. And it's amazing too. It's been now well over almost almost 230 years, I think, since its last eruption. They say the last eruption for Mount Fuji was 1707, and it's been inactive since, but of course, volcanologists still monitor it. So
Oh, I
it's
see.
a beautiful
Nick,
mountain, though, other than that.
your audio is cutting in and out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, okay. It
Yep.
happens sometimes. The audio cuts out.
I see. And let's see. Oh, here. Let's go over like some of the most iconic moments of the film. I remember. Oh man, the one scene that always stuck with me was right when the birds began their attack on the town, and what really set off the attack was where oh man, like when one first the birds like dive bomb a guy at the gas pump, releasing gas, and the guy that was finishing up his drink inside that restaurant went out to his car. Was trying to light a cigar and
Oh,
tosses the match, igniting that gasoline, setting him ablaze. Yeah, there's no way he could have survived that. And then,
yeah. Like, what the hell
right,
were you
right,
thinking? You should have noticed.
yeah, see, it's things like that. That's the reason. It's situations like that are the reason why I don't smoke and never will.
Well,
And yeah,
it's
and
probably
so
one of the reasons why they put that law that you can never smoke near a gas station.
yeah, it's like if I ever see anybody even pulling out a cigarette at a gas station, it's like what I'm like driving my car far away from that place. It's like what the hell are you thinking? Anyway, so I just love the editing in that scene. It just cuts to like as the fire is traveling to the gas station. There's like different cuts of like Timmy Hedren's face like following like in between the fire traveling and cuts back to her looking at it in different angles.
Yeah,
Her face is like different in different shots, and then it starts the explosion and the birds descend on the town. And oh man, that when she goes into that phone booth, pretty
yeah.
sure that's not the best.
I was gonna say, don't forget there was that one scene, like you said about the different angles. That one of those that we see, what we're clearly seeing is a bird's eye view.
Yes, yes, that bird's eye view where they put those effects like with the use of rotoscoping and a painting to create the picture of like the birds, just the seagulls like slowly descending on the town. They see that explosion and decided, you know what, that's our cue.
Yeah,
And
it's like their chance to attack.
oh yeah, and here,
Bird's eye view before GoPros, or
oh
better
yeah,
yet, drones.
yeah, before drones. I got to get myself a drone, because I've seen all the great things people do with it. I got to invest in one.
We thought about getting one actually.
Yeah. Oh, really? Nice.
We
And
thought about well, Tom has one.
oh yeah, he does. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that scene in the phone where she's in the phone booth. Yeah, probably not the best place to hold up in a bird attack, but where oh man, that sense of like dread, like she's looking around, seeing like people being attacked and all the chaos that these birds are inflicting upon the surrounding area. You see the firemen trying to put out the blaze, but the birds are making that impossible, and the birds just boom right into the glass, and
Yeah, well, and
and
then of course there's the horse wagon that runs by. So like it's not even just people getting attacked, it's other types of animals getting attacked by them. It's just like it's just absolute chaos. And the fact that Tibby Hedren's character is trapped in this phone booth, it's a very claustrophobic feeling to it.
oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, that I
Come
think was one of
on,
the more
Sarah.
that I think was one of the more intense moments of the entire film.
And there's again no music. You just hear all this
Yeah,
these horrific noises.
Yeah, like really, I think he just built that to like had no music in there to really get you immersed into the film, like give you a sense of give it the more of a sense of realism.
It's
Yeah,
to
like
kind of give, yeah, like a kind of like a view of reality because if something like this was to happen, there's not going to be any true background music. So it's to capture that realistic feeling to it.
yeah, like I would just think I'm just picturing like us or would be a good gag like I'm sure some people have done this in shows like where you see something like if a terrifying situation happens and you hear music going off and a guy pulls out his phone is like, oh sorry, that's my ringtone.
Oh, Sarah makes a good point. The haunted schoolhouse. I know
Oh,
exactly what she's talking about.
yeah, the schoolhouse that was used in that. Yeah, I've heard there's quite a bit of history of that.
So, for those that don't know, I mean, the school that was used, as it's called, the Bodega Bay School in in the movie, um, in reality was known as the Potter Schoolhouse, which actually was located in Bodega Bay.
Yeah, I should mention. Yeah, like some people don't know this, but a few people who've seen this movie don't know this. But Bodega Bay is an actual town in California.
That's right.
Yeah.
And ironically, the school actually does have a reputation of being haunted. And when it was originally back in the 60s when it was used, originally it was actually a restaurant. But um today the building is still there. The building is still there today. Unfortunately, the chances of one to do an investigation I don't think there's any chance because, unfortunately, unlike what it was 60 years ago, it is now a private residence.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm just going to share the screen really quickly, Don. I do have a photograph of what it looks like today, and you will see that it
Okay.
really does not look that much different in appearance how it originally looked back in 1963. So here's an actual. I'll just put it up for just a second.
Okay.
Here is an actual photo of what the school looks like today.
That's it. Oh,
Other than maybe a different paint job and maybe some partial restorations, it still looks the same.
well, yeah, it's definitely got a more modern, like a somewhat of a modern look to it. But yeah,
Here's here's a few other photos of it. Yeah, because in the original film, it was like kind of white in appearance. Now it kind of has like a yellowish color to and here's one. Oh my god. I thought this was actually a scene from the movie. These are just people recreating the birds sequence when they're
yeah,
chasing the kids.
yeah. They brought their
That's
own, probably brought their own birds, or either that or just scattered some like something for the birds to eat, and then they're just scattering
uh
around. I guess I can only guess.
possibly, but the way how I see it, that looks more like it's photoshopped. They look kind of the birds look like they're kind of added into
Oh
the
yeah,
photo.
yeah. I'm supposed to look at the birds in the air. Yeah, that's definitely photoshopped. Never mind.
Yeah, it does. Those don't look real to me.
Yeah,
And
no.
I wouldn't be the
But
least bit surprised if they've done that before.
oh yeah, but as far as actors and actresses working with these the birds on the sets, like the 3,200 different birds that were there. Rod Taylor was apparently having a terrifying experience with a few of them, especially you know how in the end of the film where he is walking towards the garage to get Melody's car so they could all just drive away while the birds were not in attack mode. Yeah, seriously, these birds are like gathered, but sometimes they don't attack at all. They're just like, on standby mode, I guess. But you know how when he's just walking down the steps and there's a raven that pecks at him when he puts his hand on the
Yep.
railing? Yeah, that raven actually was kept on attacking him in real life.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
They can get pretty nasty.
yeah, because that
No,
raven, like he stated in an interview that off camera he's been attacked several times. Like that raven would just boom, 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 like bite him like in the hand.
it's
Oh,
surprising that another type of species of birds that they didn't use in that movie was blue jays. Because I don't know if people know this, but with blue jays, although they're quite beautiful in appearance by their you know sharp blue color, they're actually some of the nastiest birds that exist. They're
oh yeah,
not friendly. They are not friendly at all.
no,
So I'm really surprised they didn't
especially
use blue jays.
yeah, especially when they want to defend their nest. Oh man, yeah,
Oh,
like
they're very territorial.
yeah,
If you talk to my brother-in-law, he's a huge expert. He's a huge bird expert. So he will tell you they're not nice. They're beautiful, but they're kind of dangerous. So if you were in that situation, what would you do?
Oh man, find the nearest bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm definitely not going to be staying in my condo.
Exactly. Oh boy. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing that should be noted about the birds too. Well, you know what? No, I'll let you talk about it. You go ahead. I think you and I are on the same page about something, so you say it.
About the birds too.
No, not the birds too.
I thought you said the birds too. My bad.
No, thank goodness not.
I thought you said that. My mistake. But yeah, what were we gonna say, Nick?
Well, no, I was actually something more about the ending about that movie is that when he eventually did get to the car and he turned on the radio to find out if there were to get any updates, to find out if there were any other bird attacks, which indeed there are. They say there's small
in the surrounding cities,
which probably shows that these birds are growing their territory. And if you remember too, there was even talks about possibly having the military involved. But the question is, what would the military do?
Yeah, how would you be able to stop something like this? Yeah, I mean, birds outnumber us. They have the air advantage.
Yeah,
and the high ground advantage. And,
I've already pictured already. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta say, if there was one type of animal that I think would be even worse than birds, if this one type of animal were to turn against mankind, it would be insects.
Yeah,
we'd be hopelessly no, that'd be the end. Because because there are more species of insects than any other type of animal in the world.
Yep.
I mean, even today, there are still new species being discovered. And so when you think about all the different kinds of insects in this world, every kind of bug, if they were all to turn against mankind would be finished.
Exactly. I mean, Sarah suggested netting them. I don't think that would really do that much good.
Yeah, that would not. No, that would not even. You would need much more than just that.
I mean, it's just like, even with all the weapons that the military has, in my opinion, those weapons would probably have no effect on. I mean, it would sure as hell kill a lot of them, but we would still be outnumbering them. It would just be. It would be. I mean, it would if I was in the military and something like that was called, even I would already say this is impossible. This is just too impossible to fight them. Mm-hmm. So the chances of the military, trying to intervene and try to either put some type of control on the birds, that's just impossible.
Yeah, I mean, the only kind of weapon I can think of that might stand a chance would be the flamethrower. Thinking back to when I think back to this one scene in Resident Evil Extinction, one of those live action Resident Evil movies, where there were birds that got infected by eating the corpses of zombies. They all became infected, started attacking people. There was a scene where they used a flamethrower against them, but then that actually did the trick.
Right.
When all else failed.
Oh, geez, Sarah. Roaches are supposed to survive nuclear apocalypse. Yeah, unfortunately, as they always say, they will be the last ones standing.
Very true. So if insects were to turn against mankind, it's like, sure, we could try using nuclear bombs, but it won't work. Oh,
I brought Jenny on. Hey, Jenny.
Good morning or good evening or
evening.
It's 9:30.
Hey, Jen, how's it going?
I'm good, Don. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we're talking about the very first Alfred Hitchcock movie I've seen, The Birds.
It's my favorite movie.
Oh, no.
I was listening to your show about why they attack.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here thinking, I know why they attack. I know. And Alfred Hitchcock had it on the head because I think, and I forget, and I'm not good with names, when the actress was driving in her car or she got out and a bird attacked her and she kind of flicked the bird away and so on.
Yeah.
Crows and ravens are the most cleverest birds ever.
They are.
Really. So when they all kind of got together, and they do communicate together as every animal does with each other. And they went and attacked the house. I did say at one point, when I left the house at one point, because I work with animals and I love animals, that I was literally looking at a crow and a raven thinking, oh my God, no. And I salute them saying, I love you, you know, please don't attack me. But I see why they attacked. And I'm going to say it's a good thing that they attacked her. But it did make me a little bit nervous of the birds, you know, and I'm thinking, why am I afraid of these birds? I know them, you know, I know them. But yeah, when they all kind of attack the home and attack the house and, you know, claw them and the children and so on. Yeah, they're very clever birds and they have a vengeance and they will do it. But that's why I love the movie.
Oh yeah, these birds are organized. They attack in waves, and I just think back to when you mentioned crows. One of my absolute favorite moments of the entire film is when Melody was like outside of the school and like just sitting there waiting for for the kids to be done singing, like so she could go check on Kathy, the little girl. So she's sitting on the bench, not noticing that a crow flew onto the playground. So far, it's one crow at a time, then it's three at a time, and then she notices that completely covered in crows. That playground is like not one space, not one bit of empty space. It's all covered in crows.
I thought at one point when they covered the shutters, they covered the chimney, they covered windows and doors, and I'm thinking, for the first time ever, I was thinking, oh my God, this crap is getting real. You know, these birds are like vengeance.
Oh yeah.
Standing there ominously, like just waiting for the right moment to attack. And it's always been told, like, when it comes to certain situations like this, like if you have one bird, obviously, you know, attacking you or whatever, or landing like that, that's definitely manageable. But if you have 100 or more birds, that's terrifying.
Oh yeah. I mean, birds. I now that I think about it, birds would have a reason to attack me at my condo. You know why? Because I'm always trying to keep them from building nests at my balcony. So,
oh man,
yeah, I get sparrows here, and I'm just like, I'm like trying to get them. Yeah, like during summertime, they try to build a nest, and I'm just like, get out of here. Yeah, like I'm trying to.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like I don't need to be having to deal with them. Yeah, you know, doing their business on my balcony. I'm tired of cleaning it up.
I know. I mean, there's nests that I see people in homes and the chimneys, and they have these nest covers, you know, from the chimney, so they don't nest on top of the chimney, so you know they don't block it and so on. And I would be that person that would try and get a ladder to kind of take those nest blockers off, just to let the crows nest on it. just because, you know. I'm the person who works with animals. I'm the one to say let them nest, you know, and they can nest in mine if they want to, and then I'll just deal with it if I have to. I'm that animal person.
Hey Nick, I was gonna say earlier about crows. There's only the only crow I would trust in my life is this one.
Oh, who? Oh no, not the movie. Oh my God, come on.
I know it's a sad movie, but at the same time, a crow that gives you the power to like stand up against your enemies. It's like, yeah, but oh yeah, great movie.
And you know what? Of all the movies we were talking about, my dog's on the table. Of all the movies we're talking about, and I heard you talking about the birds, and I'm like, this is the movie I can talk about. This is the movie I know. The Crow that you've shown, Don, I have never seen it.
The Crow, it's a great movie, but oh man, it is tragic. You know, like a rock star and his fiance are killed by gangsters, and then 1 year later, he comes back to avenge both their deaths. And
wow,
it's shocking, especially when you know what happened on set. The actor who played Eric Draven, Brandon Lee, tragically killed from a faulty prop gun accident. You know, I mean,
I know.
28 years old.
It's just crazy when you think about it.
Yes.
And fluke, if I can say that.
Yeah.
Of the movie set. and so on.
Oh yes. Yeah, it can be a tough movie to watch when you know the background to it.
For sure.
Yeah. Can't forgive Mark for he can't be chairman in Iron Chef America.
I don't know what she's talking about. Can you explain a little bit on that, Sarah? Because I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Oh, here, crows and ravens steal shiny trinkets like they are the muggers of the bird world.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And I keep calling myself a magpie because if I see something shiny, I see it and I like it, and I'm like, "Ooh, that looks nice." I don't take it, obviously. I don't take it, but I see shiny things and I like it. Let me tell you, I did my Christmas tree tonight. It drove me insane.
Yeah, it looks pretty. I was gonna say your background looks pretty stylistic.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Shiny.
I love it.
This tree, I swear to God, I'm gonna cut it down tomorrow, and I only put it up tonight. If you look at my Facebook page, I am notorious for every year for my Christmas tree lights that I keep putting them into bowls, before, when I take the tree down. And then when I take the lights out, it's notorious that I have scissors and I just bloody cut them all off.
Wow.
This one here, this is not finished yet. It has to be redone again. But I had to throw them on and do what I had to do before I came on because it drove me crazy. Oh, yes, it drove me crazy.
Man. Yeah, I got to set up my tree soon. So.
Oh, I'll ship mine over to you. You can have mine if you want.
Hey, we already got, as you can see, Kenny, I got Thanksgiving stuff up, so our house is already set to go. Don's been over here, so he knows what I've been talking about.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Seriously, Nick goes like above and beyond with decorations. Like
I know that's the best thing about Nick. That's the best thing, and many more. But he throws himself into every season.
Oh yeah,
which is what it's meant to be about. To throw yourself into every season. I mean, it's to market, and I love your hat, Nick. I love your hat. I do. And I know, like, people are saying to me, Jen, it's like November. Why are you putting your tree up? And I wouldn't put my tree up until, say, December, the second week of December. But then I could not be. I had to change everything and so on. And I just said, why not? Why not? The neighbors don't like it, so I'm going to put it up because the neighbors don't like it.
He's like a man, Martha Stewart. Oh, the guy who was in the Crow movies, aside from Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
That's who she's talking about.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. But the birds, like, I mean, it's crazy, like what Alfred Hitchcock does for like some of his movies, like uses inspiration from previous films and introduced them to this one. Like the character, what was her name? Lydia, who was Mitch's mom. Has some similarities to Norman Bates's mom in Psycho. Like was clingy, domineering, and but this time they actually did give like an explanation for why she was like that, because her husband had died 4 years ago and was afraid of letting Mitch go in the fear of being alone.
Right.
Wow. I kind of had a feeling when I watched the first movie of it, the black and white version, and I loved it.
I didn't know there was a black and white version.
She's talking about Psycho, I think.
Oh, Psycho.
Psycho. I'm talking about Psycho. Yeah. I'm getting my movies mixed up, and this is why I don't go on your shows, because my movies are all like up to date and not the old ones sometimes.
Oh, don't worry, you're good. It's all right. But Psycho. That's my second favorite horror film. Yeah, I love Psycho.
Psycho. What was the movie you were talking about before that?
The hell is this?
Oh,
that's something we don't. I can block it.
Yeah, let's block that. Yeah. Like
it comes from Twitch.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
You see, do you all get in?
There's always one, isn't there?
Yep. Apparently there's not that feature where you can block this person. Where the hell is the?
No, there isn't. You just have to kind of just delete it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I can't delete it either. It doesn't have, it has little 3 dots on it. It doesn't have that for that comment for some reason. I can't get rid of it.
Okay, well, we'll just ignore it.
Ignore it.
Okay. Anyway, so like I said, I was just telling Nick, the birds was.
Hey, Robert.
Yep.
All the way from Australia. Good to see you,
Robert.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Yeah, discussing the birds. And Jen, I was just telling Nick, I remember like when I first saw the birds, I was 7 years old, and the day was January 1st, 2000.
No, is it the first time you've seen it?
Yeah, first time I saw it, I kicked off the new millennium with Alfred Hitchcock classic.
You are just adding ages onto me. Is that the first time you've seen that movie? Oh my goodness.
Hey, you think that's crazy? The first time I saw Evil Dead was when I was 10.
I'll give you one better. I've never seen it.
Oh, you
You've
never
never seen Evil Dead?
No.
Oh,
Sorry. Sorry. You think
it's worth seeing because of the historical and creative significance that it had. I mean,
the game.
I'm sorry.
I probably played the game.
Oh yeah, there's the video game. Yeah,
Yes, but I've never watched the movie.
Yep.
I know I'm so bad at watching movies. I kind of watch the old movies, but you guys are like the encyclopedia of old first time movies. You really are. And then when you say Jenny, come on, and I'm like, I don't really know this movie, and you don't want me on. You said the bird, and I'm like, I'm on. I know the bird movie.
I mean, hey, you're free to join us anytime, so it's all good.
Thank
Yeah. Oh, Robert said, you want birds? I got birds outside my door right now. Uh-oh. Run inside, board up your windows.
Well, to make matters worse, I mean, Robert, if I'm correct, aren't the birds a lot bigger down in Australia? I mean, I've always been told everything's bigger down in Australia.
Oh yeah, they got bigger things and also a few animals that will not hesitate to put you down, such as the funnel web spiders. You know, got the box jellyfish. You know, there's things you have to watch out for.
Great white sharks, don't forget that.
Yeah, it's like Australia is beautiful, but at the same time, there's a few things you got to watch out for.
Oh, the hummingbirds are pretty vicious. Black
Friday may be more appropriate. Hummingbirds are pretty vicious here. So you know what?
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually, that's another one I'm surprised Hitchcock didn't use, because even though they're small, they have those little shark beaks. I mean, imagine being pecked by those.
And they fly super fast too.
Oh yeah, they would. Those things would downright not only peck you, they would impale you in the head.
And you wouldn't even see them coming forward because they're so small that they just kind of they're in your face before you even know it.
Oh yeah, and I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised that this film also didn't feature like hawks and eagles. I'm sure they're indigenous to California. I mean,
well, or even worse, California condors.
Oh yeah, those things.
Oh my God, can you imagine being attacked by those?
I think in the movie Hitchcock that he went for the birds that you think would not be the everyday birds, the common birds that you think they would not attack. That just like we see them every day and so on. If you get hawks and so on, then you expect a hawk to attack you. You expect a vulture to attack you. It's not going to make the movie more, oh my God, they attacked us. If you have ravens and crows and canaries and sparrows and so on attacking you, then that's the movie. That's the part that makes you go, oh my God, I've got 3 canaries in my house and I think I'm going to rehome them tomorrow kind of movie, you know? These big birds you expected, the small common birds that we see native to our country, apart from the eagles, hawks, and vultures, that they would. Oh yeah, Sarah saying they should have used pigeons.
Yeah, pigeons would have been. Yeah, you would not expect pigeons to really attack. You know, it's like in Chicago, we've got tons of pigeons and even seagulls.
Yeah, we get them all over. They're all over the place.
Oh yeah,
the eagles are pretty bad. Seagulls are probably worse.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what we have more of, seagulls or pigeons. Yeah, because we get a little bit of everything around here.
Robert,
sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Robert just sent me a message here. He showed me pictures of the birds. So I'm going to share the screen really quickly. He's got a lot of them outside his window. So
now this I gotta see.
These are the birds of Australia. Check this out.
Oh, they're like parrots.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh wow, they are beautiful.
And these to Rob are just the common birds that would be in his home ground, you know?
There's a whole bunch of them. Those are really colorful.
Oh man, we got nothing like that around here. I'll tell you that, right?
No.
These are definitely bird. These are definitely Australian birds. That is. What
Robert,
kind of birds are those?
Robert, are these birds outside your house right now?
Oh, here.
Yeah, he says they're outside his house.
Rainbow lorikeets.
Lorikeets.
Amazing.
Wow.
Kingfisher. He's a kingfisher.
That
Am I
is
saying it
just
right? Kingfisher.
that is just amazing.
Wow, I gotta say that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I would love to see those actually perched on my balcony. I don't care. Like those, it's actually that looks like more beautiful than what we have around here.
You're like,
I know.
they have like this rainbow color to them. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Those are true birds native to Australia. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great.
We have them as pets here in Ireland.
Oh really?
We have them as pets. The avatar is a blue-winged kookaburra. Oh wow, a kookaburra. I thought it was a kingfisher. Sorry, apologies, kookaburra. I love the sound they make.
Oh yeah, kookaburra. I think I've seen one of those in like a documentary once. Yeah, but what I've seen, those things are beautiful.
Yeah, they have a distinct sound, and when you hear it, you know you're in Australia.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Australia. I know listen, I can't get a flight over to the UK. It's 5 minutes away from me, for crying out loud.
Oh man.
You know, for me to get onto a plane. But I mean, I did see in the Irish newspapers that they are now traveling, and I'm going to talk about flights here for 2 seconds, that they're having a boat from Ireland over to Spain that I don't have to fly. So maybe I can, and it takes 3 days, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, it takes 3 days to get up to Spain. We normally take about 4 hours in a flight, but I'll do a boat.
I see. Oh, here.
Better stay on the bird's good side. Everyone have beef and fish for Thanksgiving.
Oh man.
Robert says they're also the same species as kingfishers.
Yeah, because they look the same. They look the same body type.
Yeah.
Cool.
I do. So, what is your favorite scene in The Birds, Jen?
Sorry, Don?
What is your favorite scene in The Birds? Like favorite part of it?
Oh gosh, there's too many.
I know.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. I think one child was crying too much and a bird came down and attacked the child, and I was like, go get him because he keeps crying. I'm joking.
I'm wondering if that was at the party or where the kids were running from the school.
Well, when the kids were running from the school and the teachers were running the kids into the school, I'm sitting here watching the movie. I'm like, oh my God, would you all calm down? Calm down, because I know birds, and I'm thinking that's just me being me.
Yeah.
But in the movie, I think it was I think when they had to cover the chimney, the fireplace, and the windows, and they were banging off the windows. That's what got me afraid, when the birds were banging off the windows. And I thought to myself, oh, Jesus, take the wheel. We are getting serious here. And, you know, that's when I thought, these birds are not playing. And then the next day I went out and I'm like, I seen a crow, and I was like,
oh, man.
There for a crow. I think when they blocked up the house and the birds were banging off the shutters.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just the sound.
I know.
The sound of all those birds like attacking and making the squawking noises, and really sets the tone for that scene, the intensity, and also the parts where Mitch had to like get the window shut, had to stick his hand outside, get pecked by birds to grab the knob for the window and close it back in. Oh man.
Go ahead, Don.
And also the one part of that scene that I always made fun of is where the birds are like pecking at the door to the part where their beaks actually go through the door. And I'm just like, here's Birdie.
I bent the beaks downwards. I think when they went quiet.
Yeah.
Everything was so noisy, and then it just died down.
Oh, yes.
And then they kind of like the piano was barricading the door, and the daughter was crying, and the grandmother took the daughter away, and they barricaded the fireplace and so on. And then all of the noise, the sounds calmed down.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit from them coming down the chimney to go into the home, and they're all kind of like fluffing around like this. I thought that was a little bit too much, but I had my own thoughts as well, that I probably would have grabbed every bird.
Oh, Robert. I like what Robert said. The horror bit for me is in the birds is thinking, how many cookies would I need to feed them all?
Yeah.
Some of them bang
It's
so
like
hard.
instead of eating man, eat cookies. Here
Yeah.
you go.
Some of them bang so hard, do you think the glass would break? Yeah.
No, yeah.
In several instances, it did. Like
It cracked. It didn't break though.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
not like that scene where Lydia finds her friend dead.
Oh,
Dan, where the eyes were pecked out. That's like one of the scenes that stood out for me the most. Like, oh,
they just wanted to deliver the Hogwarts letters.
that's a good. That is good.
You want them up, hyped up even more on sugar.
Oh, good point.
Yep, he's got a point there.
Yeah.
What was the point, Donna and Nick, that made you a little bit, oh my God, about the movie? That kind of made you more fearful of it?
I think it must have been probably, honestly, in my opinion, with the that sequence with the kids running from the school, because it's like it's very likely that something like that could really happen in real life, because there have been real bird attacks like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are not pretty. And just like in some of those, just like in the movie, some people had suffered gruesome injuries. There was even been some who've even been pecked in the face.
Oh yeah.
Now, I mean, beaks like that, you see, like that, those beaks, those can do a lot of damage to you, especially to your face.
Oh yeah, especially like Rod Taylor. We were just mentioning before that Rod Taylor, the actor who played Mitch, at the end of the film when he was like moving to the garage to get the car, he was like going down the steps and had his hand on the railing and a raven pecked at his hand. That raven actually kept on attacking him in real life.
No.
Yep. He was always, oh yeah, Rod Taylor, he was always on edge when working with that one particular raven. He would, every once in a while, he just was going at him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that raven really had it in for him.
I actually want a pet raven.
They are cool, I have to admit.
I do. Hi, Linda. I want a pet raven because they're so clever. They're so clever birds.
That they are.
And I know even with magpies as well, that they attacked this cat at one time, and my cat had a big lump in its back, and we had to take the cat to the vets, and I had to, soften down the skin to find out what the problem was, because the coat was too thick at the top of the spine of the cat's back. So I use soft cotton wool and warm water to soak the hair of the cat's back. So I scissored down the coat, and it got to a point that it was like a point beak like marking. Ooh. So my sister took her cat to the vet, and it was a magpie attack. Just because the cat was because magpies will do that. They will do it. I remember I was actually looking after my friend's, she now lives in Australia, and I was looking after her cockatoo. Not a cockatoo. I think it's a cockatoo, but it's like a white bird with yellow feathers on the head.
Sounds like a cockatoo.
Sounds like that, yeah.
Unless, I mean, I'm sure Robert.
It's a cockatoo. Yeah, I'm thinking of a cockatiel. Cockatiel is smaller, but a cockatoo. And oh my goodness, this bird frightened the crap out of me. Like, I literally paid my friend who lived 2 hours away from me to drive into where I live to
Here's
come.
Here's the answer for you: sulfur crusted cockatoo.
Oh. That's the one. Oh my God, Robert! This bird was about 6-7 years of age. Lived with the owner since he was born. They moved to Australia. I was looking after the bird. I had to rehome the bird for them. I took the bird out of the cage one day because I know bird, but I know small birds. And this bird, oh my gosh, this bird was, I was out of my depth of this bird. I paid a friend of mine to travel 2 hours away who knew birds to come and pick this bird up. It frightened me way too much. I mean, I could work with Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, Staffordshires, Chihuahuas, Jack Russells, but this bird was a whole different ball game.
Oh yeah.
And Robert will know probably what I'm talking about. This bird Don, once this bird knew its owners and I was incompetent, this bird knew. This bird knew. It was very petrifying for sure.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of birds out there, like all over the world, that have a predatory nature, like those birds, and then including birds here in America. We've got eagles and hawks that'll snatch, the small animals like baby rabbits. There was like a viral video of that once years ago. And also, you got to be careful if you have a puppy and you have it like run around outside, because they will go for that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a red-tailed black cockatoo. Those are even bigger, apparently, Robert.
Wow. Oh my, you see, this one was big enough for me, Robert. This one was a big bird, and the big cage that he came in and so on. And when we left the room, he had this piercing scream. And I understood the bird, because the bird, his owners had left him. They're like children. They know only the owners, as every animal that we own would know.
Right.
But the bird, and I forget it, Tyson was his name, and he had this high-pitched scream, and I just felt so bad for him that, because I do rescue work, that I just felt someone with more bird experience would help him and look after him.
Oh.
But even the seagulls here, yes, yeah, Robert, it was devastating to hear him do that, because these birds, they're like children, and you raise them and they know only that one or two owners, and then they're given to someone else in a different home. It was, not for Tyson, God bless him, and it was a difficult situation. But he did frighten me a little bit. He did, maybe a lot, not a little bit, maybe a lot, maybe not.
Wow.
Oh man.
By the way, Jen, I couldn't help but notice I hear your dog snoring again in the background.
You know what? I'm immune. That's my big boy at the fireplace now. He's at the fireplace.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah, Don, if you don't know, her dog always snores like when she's doing a show. That's like a trademark.
I think I remember that, yes.
I can hear her now. I've got 5 dogs. So I think she's over. I think she's underneath the Christmas tree. I'm not too sure.
Oh yeah, like, hey, Nick, you think that's crazy? You should see my aunt and uncle's new dogs, Rigatoni and Cannoli.
What is it?
Their names are there's a golden retriever named Rigatoni, and a little St. Charles mix named Cannoli. Nicest dogs ever, but
I love the names.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Linda had a snow.
I actually have a video on my channel of them of when I went over to my cousin's place for a Halloween party. I dressed as Michael Myers, and the dogs didn't see me arrive. I just dressed in my Michael Myers costume.
I saw the video. I saw the video, yes, and then he went over to you, but he knew you.
Yeah, he didn't even care. He was afraid of Michael Myers.
He knew you. It's so funny. I watched it.
Yeah, that was Rigatoni, and the smaller one was Cannoli.
Oh, cannoli. I'm hungry now when you mentioned cannoli.
Yeah, you must love Italian food. Yep, my family loves Italian food. That's why they named those 2 dogs after. Yeah, they're nicest dogs ever, but they can get pretty wild.
Oh, how old are they?
Almost a year old.
They're still babies.
Yeah, they're still little ones.
They're still babies. I work in rescue, and I said I'm still involved in a paranormal, and I said I'm going to give a little time away from paranormal to go back into my real love, which is rescue work. Oh my goodness, are we inundated with rescue animals? I'm taking animals in. I'm taking a dog in for Christmas. We are just nonstop with rescue work.
Oh,
wow. It's nonstop. It's nonstop.
But hey, it's great work that you do at rescue. Working with all these animals, helping them out. Yeah, I admire that.
I love it so much. I mean, I got 5 dogs and 5 cats. I don't need any more. But then I always think I can fit one more in. And I'll always take a dog in or a cat in for Christmas. So I could, Hopi. She stopped. I always take a dog in for Christmas that's in a pound that will probably get out or go into a rescue or go into kennels and so on. But I always take a dog or a cat in for Christmas during the season, and I will get the work on them done that they need to get done, like nutrient vaccinations and so on and so on. And then I'll do rehoming after Christmas, just as long as they can get a Christmas stocking and a home for Christmas. And then after that, I will do home checks. I will do home spots and, make sure the animal gets to the best home that they can get into. So yes, I'm thinking of taking a few dogs and cats in, even though I've got a few dogs and cats here. But that's what I do. Yeah, I love it. I think I have my sight on one dog for the Christmas period.
Energy work is prominent in doing rescue work.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, Sarah. 100%. Yeah, it's like I've got 5 dogs and 5 cats, and they have to accept the animal that I take in. But as I say, every animal that's in my home is a rescue. So they have to accept it and understand what I do. So they have no choice, basically. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, because, I work it out with all of them. But it's a long job. Sorry, Don.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm sorry. I just noticed that we've been on for an hour and a half. Nick, is the guy...
I asked Jeremy. I was going to originally say something. I thought, I better check with Jeremy just to make sure.
Okay.
He said he doesn't think he is, so he said he didn't set anything up. So I think we're okay.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here.
Point to remind people that are thinking of getting animals for Christmas that they are for the next 15 years, not just the season. He's absolutely right on that.
Yeah, very true.
110%, Robert. 110%. Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes it's... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, like sometimes for a pet, it's more than 15 years, depending on the animal. Like, because I go to a PetSmart around here, and I would just see what they got, and we sell they have like ball pythons that can live about 30 years.
You see, and then parrots live even longer. Turtles outlive humans. They can live to 150 years. You've got to make sure that you have someone in place that will look after your tortoise that will outlive you. It's nice to have it, and it's fun to see, like, oh, look at me, look at what pet I've got. But you've got to put in place the afterlife care when you pass on before they do, because they do live to 150 years and if not more.
Right.
So put it in place. Yeah, got to put it in place. And when it comes to, like, I know I'm back in the rescue work and so on, and it's just, oh my goodness. And I think because I've gotten older and I've gotten more non-pleasing, where I'm saying, like, oh my God, okay, I'll take your animal, I'll look after it, I'll pay all the bills. Now I'm like, you neuter, I want vet papers, I want vaccinations, I want this, I want that. I don't want you to have a 4-year-old dog when you rehome your 10-year-old dog. You better have no more animals than what you're rehoming to me. I've done it all this week. And now I'm getting more annoyed with people. Yeah, you see, 120 years old. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta make sure it's nice to have, but you gotta make sure you have something in place and you know what you're getting and what you're taking on, because this animal will know you and you only. So you gotta have in place that a family member who's younger than you, who will get to know this pet, who lives longer, who will outlive you.
Yep.
That will take your outliving pet on. Chica?
Yep, what you're saying, absolutely true. Like, I don't know if I'd ever own several things I would not own. Like again, at PetSmart, they sell like tarantulas and scorpions. I would never own those. And also, especially one thing I would never want to own as far as turtles, alligator snapping turtle, because those could live over 100 years. And also, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want something that would have a bite force strong enough to take my fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, I had piranhas. I owned 5 piranhas.
You had piranhas. I didn't even think you could legally keep those.
You could.
Yeah, you can. I had 5 piranhas, and they were fabulous. They were getting bigger and bigger, and so I gave them to an aquarium. When they got bigger, I gave them, I introduced them into an aquarium, and I got to meet them and how they kept their pets and their fish and so on. So I transported them over to the aquarium in Dublin. So yes, they were fabulous. They were amazing. I just love them, and they're more shyer than you think they are. They are shy, but it was great to blackmail my children to say, if you annoy me one more time, your hand is gone in the tank. And when I did this today, yes, I did. maybe just once or twice. But Don, I love the snapping turtles. I have an obsession with snapping turtles. I think they are just amazing.
Oh yeah,
I love them.
oh yeah, I think they're great animals too, but animals that I feel like I should just enjoy from a distance though, because of the kind of damage they can do to someone.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I just think they're amazing animals. Can you hear my dog still snoring in the background?
Gotcha. Yeah, like in there's several like places here like that where the forest rangers they tell you like if you ever come across a turtle on the road, don't pick it up by its tail, that'll sever its spine. You got to pick it up by its sides and just like carry it
Yeah.
off the road. They teach us about things like that.
That's a good thing. What is your favorite? I'm going to use. I hope I'm using the right word. Mammal. Am I saying the right word? I'm not too sure.
Mammal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're using the correct word for a mammal. Oh, that's a good question. One of them. Let's see. Like.
Oh, uh-oh.
Whoops.
We lost her.
Well, she must be having connection
Yeah,
problems. But to answer your question, Jen.
Oh, wait.
She's
coming back.
Oh, here, let me add her.
There we go.
I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, one of them is probably like a grizzly bear. Majestic. Like amazing to see, but at the same time, you don't want to get on their bad side.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're stunning. They're beautiful. And I watched actually a YouTube video one time where a cub had literally climbed a tree within 3 seconds. Like you have no idea how fast they can climb a tree, and they think they can't. But I watched the video, and a man had climbed a tree, but not as fast as this bear.
Oh yeah.
I think one of my ones would be a sloth.
Oh, yeah, those are nice animals too.
I just have this thing that when I see people saying, "Oh my God, I want to have one. I want to own one," I'm gonna say I'm guilty. I would love to have one, but that's just me being me because I love the way they look. I love the way they go, but I do love them. They're one of my favorite animals, and a silverback gorilla, and a whale.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I feel like probably one of the hardest mammals you could possibly take care of would be koala bears because they sleep most of the day and also they feed entirely on the eucalyptus trees. I think that's what they're called.
Yep.
They have to have a steady diet of that, otherwise they're not going to make it.
Robert could probably vouch for that since again, that's from Australia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know what? Robert just points out kangaroos can be rather vicious as well. They look cute and cuddly, but just be cautious. My mom was just telling me about that. Supposedly there was an attack on someone not long ago, and they could do some pretty good damage to you.
Yeah, the back legs could rip you.
Oh my God! Yeah, the strength they have. Yikes!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nick, Kangaroo Jack. I remember seeing that. I consider that.
I was thinking of that. I was just thinking of that movie.
I'm looking back at that film. I feel like that film should have been like fair warning to all kids. Don't mess with kangaroos.
See, look, Robert just put this down. Koalas sleep 18 hours a day and wake up like they were having coffee withdrawal.
Oh God, that's me. I wish I slept 18 hours, but I really don't.
If only I could.
I love koalas though. I mean, they're always so cute and cuddly. I always look at them as living teddy bears. That's how I picture them.
And can I say the education of koalas would be that they're anything but that. That they are literally. I remember watching a documentary one time, and there was a koala, and there's a koala baby on the ground, like calling for his mom up in the tree. And the mom did you see that? And the mom just didn't want to have anything to do with the koala. And they had to pick the koala baby, if I'm saying the right word, up and let the baby. Normally people, what they would do would take the baby and say, "Oh my God, it's a baby and baby." But they put the baby onto the tree so the baby could climb up it himself, you know,
Yeah.
which I thought was a great thing to do,
Right.
you know, at that time, you know, and just keep an eye on it. If I'm saying it right, Robert, I'm not too sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I mean, I feel like here in America, like the most dangerous things you could ever encounter are like certain animals from the southern states, you know, because down there you got the rattlesnakes, you got venomous spiders, scorpions. Yeah, those are the things you need to be most cautious about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, sure, they have a lot of bad things in, or I mean, not bad, but like dangerous things you should be cautious about in Australia, like such as
No,
kangaroos, the spiders, the jellyfish. You know,
They
long
got
list of,
7 of the 10 deadliest snakes in the world.
oh yeah,
yeah.
and we get some bad snakes here: the western diamondback, the coral snake,
What?
motorcycle.
Oh my god. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the coral
Well,
snake.
there's no dangerous animals here in Ireland.
Alligators, yep. Don't forget alligators.
Yep.
I love alligators. There's
Yep.
no dangerous animals here in Ireland, apart from the Irish woman.
Wait, what is not in
There's no
in
dangerous
Australia?
animals here in Ireland apart from the Irish woman.
Well, I also remember hearing too that there's also supposedly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny, that supposedly there's no snakes in Ireland either because St. Patrick supposedly
Apparently,
banned them.
Patrick got rid of all of them. But I
Yep.
always say there's always snakes in Ireland, and like I call them two-legged ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a picture because
Yep.
you mentioned alligators, but I actually do have a little something that could surprise a lot of you. Hang on.
Robert makes a good point. Crocodiles down here, both saltwater and freshwater.
Yep. And then people have the alligators and the crocodiles that they don't know the difference between them of what they, you know, the facial features, the alligator
Yeah.
and the crocodile. And
That
I
is
had,
true.
you think you know them, but you had to keep looking, keep looking. I'm thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Robert, the alligator has the wide mouth and the crocodile. No, the alligator has the small mouth and the Hopi.
I can really hear that snoring.
Hope. She's actually on the couch, actually. Holy
Oh.
God. The crocodile is the wide mouth, and the alligator is the slim mouth.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, like alligators have like the fatter mouth to them, the better snout, and yeah, both alligators and crocodiles have a very strong bite force. So
Be right back.
both of them are something not to be messed with. Nick, real quick,
Yeah.
I found the photo here. I wanted to show you guys this. This is a little something picture I took at 10 years old. I went to a reptile fest in downtown Chicago, and
Oh wow.
I like a
Whoa.
live American alligator.
Jeez.
Is
Unbelievable.
that true?
Yep, that's me, laying on the back of a live alligator.
Let
That's
me tell you now, he would be asleep when you're on him.
No, he was awake. This one is very used to humans. Like he has like this one is like the owner takes him to conventions all the time. Like he's actually like very used to, like at first, because my parents were there because obviously 10 years old, couldn't go alone. But yeah, my parents didn't believe the alligator was alive or awake or whatever. And so the owner touched it, rubbed his underside and said, "Bubba, up." And was sure enough was moving his legs, moving his tail.
That's
Yeah.
just, I mean, I love them when I go to the zoo, and I don't like going to the zoo, but it's the only way I can get to see them sometimes. I think the last time I was in the zoo would have been about 5, 6, 7 years ago. But it's the only way I can get to see them is to go to the zoo, and I don't support the zoo. But sometimes the zoo, and I don't know if Robert will agree with me or anybody who's watching, that will agree, like a zoo is not the best place for animals. And I will agree with that. But I will also say, you know, it's the only program that will reintroduce breeding. But I think it could be better. I know for me, I have the biggest passion for gorillas and orangutans.
Oh yeah, orangutans are.
They don't have enough space. It's just horrible. It's miserable. And I'm that person that would say something, you know. I remember going one time and there was a group of school children there knocking on the glass, and I'm just like, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm like, control your children. I was so annoyed. So we went inside into the enclosure, not in the enclosure with the gorillas, but indoors. And one of the silverbacks came charging towards the glass and banged the glass. And every child, I think, toileted themselves. And I was like,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yep. Something similar.
It's just, I think there needs to be more staff around these, especially gorillas and orangutans and so on, because I think children, I'm not going to say the word I want to say on your show, but I think, you know, if it was my show, I'll say it, but I think, you know, children are little.
Yeah.
Well,
not all of them. Not all of them are. But
not all of them. Some are really, really, really good in education.
Oh yeah.
But some are just, you know, absolute. I wish I knew the word in Irish to tell you what I think of the children when it comes to zoos in Dublin, for Christ's sake.
I hear you. But something similar actually did happen when I took my ex-girlfriend over to Lincoln Park Zoo. We were in the gorilla area. Yeah, where there was like gorilla. There's a glass. You know, you could see the gorillas inside the exhibit, like inside that section, and then kids were banging on like this one gorilla that was like laying down, just banging on the glass, and the gorilla took his fist and just went boom right at that glass, right at them, scared all of them out of their minds.
It's just driving them crazy, and gorilla glue. I swear to Lord.
You know what? Anytime I think of gorilla, I keep thinking of gorilla glue.
I tell you, that lady is like, oh my gosh.
I mean, that was like I've always said, she's the reason why there's warning labels on gorilla glue.
We're gonna end up getting sponsored by Gorilla Glue. I mean, is that really is that really what you're going for here, Nick?
You know what? If you talk to Jeremy, he'll say the same thing. We will probably be eventually sponsored by Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, thanks to you. Thanks to you.
Gorilla Glue or chicken nuggets. One of those.
Chicken nuggets.
Okay, that's the same as tapping on a fish tank. It drives the animals. Yep.
Totally, absolutely, and like I've got two daughters, and they're 12 and 19, and they literally have been raised. They have been raised to respect animals, and they know they know better than to disrespect an animal. They would never do it. That they've hand raised. They have, you know, we have 5 dogs, 5 cats, and 2 fish.
Oh yeah.
We know, girls, get the bones out. We're feeding the zoo. I call it the zoo. That I don't know what I'm feeding.
Hope's definitely in a really deep sleep there.
Sounds like it.
Hopi?
Oh, jeez.
There she is. Look.
Oh man, but yeah, Hopi? Like we have like the same sort of thing at the Shed Aquarium when like they don't let there are a lot of exhibits where you're not allowed to tap on the glass because it'll upset the animals inside. You know, we got all sorts of things in there. You know, we even got a giant anaconda that I don't want to mess with.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. Because we don't have one in Ireland. We don't have them in Ireland, you know. I mean,
really?
We don't. No, we have the snakes. We have the python and so on. And I remember walking around. I worked in a pet store. I was grooming. I'm a dog groomer, and I was walking around, and I I heard a mom screaming with her pram. You know, her daughter was in the pram, and I walked around, and there was this 18 or 20 foot long python, and I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. And she goes, oh my god, I know. And I'm like, no, I need to see it. I need to see it. And she was like, oh my god. And she ran out of the store. But it was a female. She was wide, she was long, she was stunning. She was just stunning. But there was one time I was, you know, finishing my day of dog grooming. And I had my jacket was wet of, you know, dog hair and so on. We took a snake out of one of his confinements and whatnot, and you could see the snake sniffing and smelling me, and the neck recoiled, and I said to my friend, put the snake back into his tank, because you could see that he was going to kind of attack me because of the dog smell that the snake could smell off me, and that was the only time I was afraid. And then I think it was a Mexican rose tarantula was kind of like throwing hairs because of, I think someone had held the tarantula.
Oh yeah.
And they got itchy skin, as you do. They got itchy skin. But that snake was only a baby, but you could see the way, like, he or she was, like, the tongue was coming out and smelling me.
Yeah.
And then the neck recoiled as if to say, I'm going to attack in 2 seconds because I can smell something that's animal, basically.
Yeah, that's.
So I said, put it back in to where it was. And I love snakes. I do love snakes. I never owned because I won't outlive one.
I hear you. I have a video on my channel like of me holding a ball python, and I always have people freaking out when they see that. I'm just like, oh my god, he's slithering all over you. Like, it's a snake. Of course it's gonna do that. Like, it's like there's like, what if he bites you or something? And it's like he would let me know if he didn't want to be held. I'm sure like a snake would make a loud hissing noise, go in some sort of a defense posture. But the fact that he's just slithering all over me, he's just like, okay, this is cool. I can just hang out on this guy's shoulders. Yeah, so.
They will let you know. So I'm just tapping on my couch so my dog will wake up.
Oh.
They will let you know. I think the first time I ever held a snake was when I was in Canaries off the island of Spain, and they were stupidly, I was that person that never held a snake before, but I really wanted to hold one, and they said we have an albino python coming out, and I ran up and held the python around my neck and got a picture taken with it. I shouldn't have, but I didn't know back in the day. But I went back to Canaries again, and there was a guy, having children holding their parrots and so on. And I said to the guy, how long have these been out all day? Have you taken them home? Have you let them rested? Have you fed them? And he goes, I know no English, and I'm like, the Lord Jesus. And I was that animal person to say, have you given these birds a break? And there's nothing you can do about it there and then in the country, because they won't listen to you. But I did ask him all these questions, and apparently he didn't understand anything I was saying. So I was not impressed.
Oh, I see. I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest bird species in Ireland?
Oh my God. Common bird.
Yeah, one of the biggest birds there.
I would say, oh my gosh, there's a lot of hawks in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a common sparrowhawk. That's a small sparrowhawk. We don't have a lot of big birds. I'd say a seagull would be bigger than this sparrowhawk.
Oh,
crazy! A seagull would be bigger than a hawk.
Oh, I see.
In Ireland, yeah. I could be wrong now because I know a friend of mine in the north of Ireland. They own World of Owls, and it's a large bird sanctuary. Oh. So they have American eagles, bald eagles up there. They have barn owls, and they have oh my God, they have so many different breed owls that it's in my head, but I can't. The names won't come to me. But we don't have a wide variety of large prey birds here.
Cassowary is one of the largest down this way.
Cassowary. I'm not sure if I've ever heard of that one, but yeah, that does sound interesting. Cassowary. Let me look that up. But yeah, we got owls here in America too, and I tell you, they are not nice. Like they will hiss at you. Yeah, they will hiss at you if you get too close to them. They're I wouldn't want to run them.
Tell you, we don't have a lot of predatory animals here in Ireland. We really don't. When I think about it, there used to be wolves, and now I've seen a program in the last 2 weeks that they're trying to reintroduce wolves into the Irish wildlife.
Oh,
a lot of people are not happy with it because it's farmland and whatnot, and I get it.
Holy cow! Guys, I got to show this to you. Robert just shared this to me. He had sent me an image of, wow, it's the talons of a cassowary.
Oh, yeah. Guys, I'm looking at pictures of cassowary on my iPad.
Oh,
yeah, I just pulled them up on my iPad.
Those things are big. Look at this.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at pictures right here.
That's like a beast.
That's a dinosaur.
Look at the
That's
talons on the neck.
What is that?
Big
That's
talons.
That's like a raptor claw. Oh my god.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, they're called raptors for a good. There's certain species of birds that are called raptors for a good reason.
Mhm.
Good Lord. I'm gonna look this up actually.
Yeah, looks like a cross between like a peacock and an emu. Yeah, these things are big.
Do you know what I love? Those oh my gosh, I forgot what they're called. They have a big, huge bill and they make this clap sound.
Toucan?
No, not them. They're from, I think they're from Mauritius or India.
Wonder what that could be.
I see the bird you're talking about now. They have a colorful neck. Is that from?
Let's see. It says these things are found in the rainforests of Australia. Is it?
Oh, it's in danger of extinction.
Wow.
Man.
Those feet are huge.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sad to say. I'm sorry?
No, sorry. I was just looking. I'm talking about these birds here that I'm looking at. They're amazing.
I mean, I'm sad to say that here in America, we've like forced a lot of species to either to extinction or at least to be non-existent in this part of the world, but they go like more into like the southern countries and like into like Mexico and South America. Like we used to have like panthers that were all across southern America and like, southern states, but yeah, we've hunted them down. Like we've destroyed their habitats. So yeah, man, we've done our fair share of damage to ecosystem.
Aye, same here in Ireland. I think the bird I'm talking about is the shoebill.
Shoebill.
Let me look at
Yeah, it is absolutely the most majestic. Not pretty to look at, but one of many prehistoric birds.
Wow.
And they make the most beautiful sounds, and they bow their heads as in respect.
Yeah, looking at it right now.
That's the one. Yep, that's the one. Oh, absolutely. Yes, Robert, shoebill stork.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a species of a stork.
They are just not known enough about. My camera keeps blowing because I've got so many lights behind me. I think they're just stunning. I mean, they're not pretty, like as I keep saying, but eyes and the beauty of the beholder. Yep. And I think they look, and the wingspan is just, you gotta look behind the face and look at the history of these animals, these birds.
I actually learned about shoebill when I was a little kid, where they featured it on one of those Muppet shows. It was like a short-lived series that focused on animals. So.
That's where you remember it from. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, Jim Henson pretty much educated, like maybe he basically served as like one of our early forms of education when it comes to like wildlife.
Yeah, that's so funny. Was the shoebill stork in the Muppets?
Yeah, they did feature one. I do remember.
Oh my goodness, the sound they make to communicate is like you gotta hear it. It's just fabulous. And then when they bow their heads, you have to bow their heads with them to show respect. Oh. Yeah, that's just freaking amazing. I love them. They're the most prehistoric birds I've ever seen.
Here, I'm looking up right now. I'm looking up the noise that they make here.
Listen to the noise. I mean, even the picture. This is one of the pictures now. Where did I get the picture?
Let's see if I can find it.
Okay. How prehistoric does that look? I mean, my camera's not the best. I think my camera's acting up tonight.
I see it.
The feet span is like amazing. I think my camera's acting up tonight, but my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. And when you see them bow their heads, watch the video where they bow their heads.
Yeah,
and the guy in front of them have to bow their heads as well.
This one just bowed his head. So
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's amazing. Yeah, I just wanted to play the sound that they make because wow, I've never really, I could never heard anything like that around here. I'll tell you that.
They're just like there's not enough. They look like they're a movie made up bird.
Yeah,
But
they
they're really,
look.
I need to know the continent of them because I thought it was Mauritius.
Let's see.
Am I right? Mauritius, Australia, because Mauritius and Australia, and Mauritius, Australia, and South Africa are on the southern side.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh man. So
So beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
That's huge.
Predator
That's
from.
huge.
Oh wait, sounds more like a Predator from the movies than crows do down here. Oh, like oh, you mean like the movie Predator?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Predator. Another film we got to cover on this channel on this series, Nick.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I remember first seeing Predator when I was 15. Good
I
times.
love that movie. That movie freaked me out. I didn't like not knowing what I couldn't see. And Chica.
That's
Sorry,
yeah, I gotcha. That's the idea of it. You know, they wanted to face, pits an unknown enemy against the deadliest force on the planet. That's like a gang of commandos against an unknown force. Yeah, that's what they were going for with that.
And
But
then when they're in front of you and they can smell you and they can see you and you can see the teeth coming out. And
yeah.
I watched it. Yeah, I did. That movie I did watch.
Oh yeah, like
Crazy dog.
yeah. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like one thing I don't get about the movie The Birds is when Tippi Hedren at the very end when Tippi Hedren goes upstairs to investigate noises and then just gets attacked by the birds. Why did she go in the room? And like I can understand that maybe if you just peek in slightly through the door to see what's going on and then shut it in case something happens. I would not go into the room.
Into it. But that's like it's lashing here. That's like every paranormal movie. When you see something that's happening and they walk in, it's like, why do you do it? Why do you walk in? Just to make sure there's no other side.
It's like you've seen firsthand what these birds are capable of doing, and you want to take the risk of going inside that room. Like I didn't understand that part of the film at all.
Yeah.
They walk in. They just walk in because that's not what we would do here. Can you hear the rain here in Ireland?
I'm sorry?
The rain.
The rain? Oh, I hear
it raining over there?
Oh, it's heavy rain here, yeah.
Oh
heavy
boy.
Rain.
I think we're supposed to get rain soon.
Yeah.
It is heavy rain here. My back door is beside me and it's open because I thought my dog was outside. I thought I heard someone sniffing at my door.
Oh, I see.
And I opened it thinking it was my dog, but it's not.
I gotcha. Oh man, but yeah, I'm just thinking back to like how many birds that they used for the film, like 3,200 in this.
They also use different types. They also don't forget they also use different types of effects as well because it wasn't just real birds. They use fake birds. They use mechanical birds. They use puppet birds. They use they even went as far as to using animated birds. So there were times that sometimes you even had trouble figuring out which were real birds and which weren't.
Oh yeah, it's very impressive how back in 1963 when like they were so efficient with creating these effects, making the birds like these bird attacks so believable without the use of like where this is like before you could even use a computer to create this stuff.
Yeah, it was real. It was real. And I know when I watched it, I was thinking more of the birds, of when they were kind of like flicking the birds away, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, do they care about animal welfare back in the day, where they just flicking the birds away? And I'm sure they had to have animal welfare at side and at stake at the time. I'm sure they did, not as much as now, but back then maybe.
Oh yeah, especially like in the ending where the birds were all crowded around the house and they had to get in the car and drive away without, when there's the risk of running birds over. I'm thinking about that. I was like, when I saw that scene, I'm like, I'm hoping that driver is being cautious, like because there's so many birds like that are like in front of the car, behind the car. Yeah.
How they got them all to sit on the fence. And like I said early on when I just jumped in, about the way ravens and crows can be trained. Probably one of the species that can be very much trained.
Oh yeah.
At least they didn't have the robot owl from Jason the Argonauts and the Birds.
Oh yeah. Or from Clash of the Titans, they had like a robot owl in that too. Yeah. Yeah. Where it had, let's see, Harry Hamlin, I believe his name was. Yeah, Perseus. Yeah, where he had like a robotic owl, that going on. But yeah, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. But
yeah, that's what probably Robert's identifying. Yeah,
oh yeah, I was about to say, I think you're referring to that film. But but one thing both those films haven't had in common is the creature effects that were done by Ray Harryhausen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
It
Nick?
was. Yeah, Ray Harryhausen. Yeah. He was the one who did the effects on that movie.
Oh, yes. And you remember thinking back to Monsters, Inc., they actually did reference Ray Harryhausen by having the restaurant called Harryhausen's.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I always like to look for connections like that. But, yeah, wow. The Birds, looking back at that, that movie never gets old. Still amazing as it was when I first saw it. It's when I was 7.
It is a fantastic movie. It's a timeless movie.
Yes.
Literally, you could watch it, and I would watch it with my children. They would get bored, but I'd make them sit and watch it because it's like a timeless movie that's, I'm not even going to give away my age for crying out loud, but I'd say to my kids, sit and watch this movie. Like, you gotta, like, even today, I was watching Santa Claus, the movie, made in 1985. And my daughter said to me, I told my daughter how old I was when I was watching the movie. And she goes, so this was born in this, and you were born in this and that. And she goes, Mum, that movie is 37 years old. Like, yeah. And what?
I would say, what?
No, go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, my daughter was calculating the movie that I was putting my Christmas tree up to, and I always watch The Grinch. Every time I watch Christmas, every time I bought my Christmas tree up, I always watch a Christmas movie. So I watched The Grinch, and The Grinch was over and done with. So I watched Santa Claus, the movie, and it made in 1985. And I told my daughter I was 10 when that movie was made. Oh, when I watched that movie. And so she was calculating my age. And I was like, just be quiet and watch the movie, Elsa. Be quiet and watch the movie. Don't calculate my age. You don't need to do that.
No. They would get bored because there were no cell phones to take Snapchats with birds, just like with Travis.
Exactly, yeah, Robert. Exactly.
Very true, Robert. I would say if there's just one thing about the Birds that I don't think aged well, Nick, is where Melanie just tracks down Mitch, goes to his town without him knowing, and then goes inside of his house to deliver lovebirds. So even though it was for good intentions, like delivering birds for his little sister's birthday, the fact that you just went inside of somebody's home without permission, like,
because it was just like, it was okay back in those days. It was okay back in those days.
That would never be allowed today. Like if somebody did that to me, I'd be like, okay, what is this? I'm calling the cops.
Who are you and what are you doing? Yeah, but back in the day, it was kind of like, well, I met your daughter in the schoolyard, so therefore I'm going to know your dad. And just go and give what they give.
Well, Robert has a good point. The accident doors were left unlocked.
Oh yeah, that is true. Like I remember when my mom was describing a time where growing up, they didn't have to lock their doors until like a certain crimes started happening, robberies, murders, and whatnot. And they decided, we're putting locks on our doors now.
I heard even parts up in Canada, they still do. They leave their doors unlocked.
Do they?
I mean, I don't know now, but I remember several years ago they did.
Man.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, it was just that was just the lifestyle that they had in those days.
Oh yeah, you certainly wouldn't get away with just trespassing on properties, especially down in Kentucky, where I went to university. Because I can't tell you how many. I've said this before in the podcast. I can't tell you how many times I've driven past properties where they have fences and also signs that say trespassers will be shot.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
yeah.
That's Kentucky for you.
Yeah, they take that seriously. They're not messing around when they want to protect their properties. Oh yeah.
Good
Yep.
gosh.
I've seen like gun laws are different down there than up here. Like where oh
God.
man, they're willing to take whatever means necessary to protect their land. They're real serious about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, I know here in Ireland, Hopi,
Oh man.
really? She's I tell you, she's a chihuahua. But I mean, no eagle in Ireland is ever going to pick my chihuahua up because she's about probably like 2 stone bigger than what she should be.
Robert.
Fat chihuahua. She's a fat chihuahua.
Sure got a pretty mouth.
She's got a purty mouth. I always say in Ireland, I'm too purty to go to prison. If anything, like, if somebody comes into my house, I'm like, I'm too purty to go to prison. No,
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not doing it. Oh no, I've got dogs in my house. I've got dogs. And then I've got me as well. We're not doing it.
so that saying you sure got a purty mouth, like I guess that's like a southern kind of stereotype where people talk like that. Not one time have I ever heard anybody use that phrase in Kentucky. Not once.
Really?
Yeah, it's like all the stereotypes that you see about people from the southern states. Most of it's just nonsense. I've spent more than enough time down there to know that.
In the south of America.
Yeah, in America, in the southern states. Like I had a college girlfriend from Texas. And like it's like growing up in the north. You see, like I've never been to southern states that much. Until I was going to Kentucky for school, where you see like on the like all these different stereotypes and whatnot. But most of it's just nonsense.
Gosh, I mean, in Ireland we don't. It's all malarkey. Malarkey's like Australian and Irish. It's all malarkey.
It is, Robert.
Malarkey means like bull crap. Basically,
Yeah.
it's all malarkey.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that term. Yes.
Rubbish talk.
Yep.
So funny that Robert said malarkey. I thought we only said that in Ireland. It's all malarkey.
Yeah. But yeah, like so. Yeah, and I will say this: The Birds, huge successful film, praised from 1963 to today. But you got to make sure you avoid the sequels and ripoffs that have spawned from it. There was back in 1994, they made a TV sequel that was horrible.
Of what? Of The Birds?
Of The Birds, yeah.
They did not.
They did, and Tippi Hedren was in it and was embarrassed to be part of it, but she actually surprisingly did not reprise her role. She played like a secondary character.
What's the name of it?
The Birds 2: Land's End.
The Birds 2.
Yep. It's called The Birds 2: Land's End.
I've heard of it, but I've heard of it, but I didn't. I probably watched about 5 minutes of it, if my memory is right. And I just thought nothing is like the original, but that's crazy.
Yep. I remember seeing clips of it. I saw like one clip where seagull just dive bombed on a guy and just blood spattered onto a window, and I'm like, come on. And I'm just like, I'm just thinking, man, Alfred Hitchcock would have been embarrassed if he saw this.
I think he would be.
It goes against everything that he was trying to do. And
as usual, they try to recreate something that was brilliant and try to recreate something that is like, you can't do the same thing twice.
Nope.
Sometimes you cannot do the same thing twice. Leave it as it is. Leave it.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing one other film, like I didn't see the whole thing, just clips of it. Most of it came from compilations of bad movies that people have sent me to react to on my channel. There was this, Nick, you probably heard of this, Birdemic. Don't ever see it.
I think I have heard of it. Fortunately, I have not seen it.
It features terrible CGI where it doesn't even show the birds like swooping down to attack people. It just shows them just flying in place. Terrible animation of them just flying in place. And that's just one of the many things that's wrong with it. Yeah, don't ever see Birdemic, Nick. It's terrible.
No, I'm not
going to.
Yeah. Let's see. Sometimes they shouldn't do a film once. Yeah, that is true. Like they've seen. Yeah, let's see. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, one thing that definitely did not need to be remade was Psycho.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yes. Why redo it? Why redo it?
Exactly. I mean, the only changes that were made to the film is that it's in color and there's different actors, and that's it.
And then you get a glimpse of a mum at one stage that a skeleton is in a chair. So you think that he didn't bury his mom, and she's sitting in a chair, and then it's kind of, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then Norman would have preserved the corpse. Like he preserved the corpse in the first film. In the second film, it's just completely defeats like the whole aspect of that character. Like he wanted to keep his mother well preserved. In the remake, it didn't seem that way. Like,
yeah, the first one was scary. The first one was, it was just original. The second one was, you can hear her calling him from these huge steps up to the room.
Yep.
And he goes, "Yes, mother." And she can hear him calling her, and she's in the home, and he's making her some bread and whatever because it's late at night and so on. And it's just not the same. It's kind of like it's a horror that's made into, look what we can do better. And I just thought, whatever.
Yep. And on top of that, like, since they filmed it shot by shot, you know exactly what's going to happen, so the suspense is dead.
Yeah.
And here, they should stop making remakes of classic movies. Well, there are a few times where it does work. I mean, it can work if done right. Like, example. Where is it?
And you have it, Don. What have we got?
He always has it.
Here,
I know.
Several examples, such as The Thing, one of my favorites. Yeah, this, it's like, sure, it's updated, but it was done right. Yeah. And let's see, The Blob. Like, I thought it was a fairly great remake. It's like, they tackled like the issues of the Cold War, like they did with the original, and they made it much more gruesome with incredible visual effects and special effects. And let's see, The Fly, another example, which also had a symbolic message to it about the AIDS pandemic, body decaying.
Right.
Yeah. The Fly.
And of course, Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake. This I thought was amazing, great cast, and of course, made the message a whole lot stronger. It was, those are just a few examples.
I know one out of 4 that you've shown. The Fly.
The Fly, yeah.
It is my most favorite movie, and I know I say I've got many favorite movies. It's my favorite movie because I absolutely have the utmost fear of flies. I hate them. It ain't working for me. I don't like flies and so on. This movie is everything what I think flies are.
Yep, and especially the flies that bite. Here in America, we got horse flies. They come out of you, they sink their proboscis into you. They just, they're
even worse. And I've told Jenny this. Then, of course, in Africa, they have the tsetse fly.
Oh, yeah, those are bad.
We're not doing that. Listen, this is why I live in Ireland. We got rid of snakes. We have flies. We have the horse fly that bites.
Yep. See, Robert put it down. Tsetse flies.
Oh God! Look, what's tsetse flies?
So, when you think about it, Africa, is well known for a variety of certain animals and insects. But in certain, like Central Africa, you have the tsetse fly. They are about the size of a house fly, and normally a little bit bigger. But they're just extremely aggressive, and you would just hate to have them pestering you all day long. And in spite of their sizes, it's their bodies are different compared to a normal house fly. Like, how we're familiar with, when we use a fly swatter on a house fly, those are easy to kill a house fly, but it takes a lot of. It's not that easy with a tsetse fly. It actually takes quite the amount of strength to crush and kill a tsetse fly. And Robert's right. They do drink blood from certain animals, and but to make matters even more worse, they also give off this very dangerous and rather deadly infection. It's called what is that called? Robert, remind me what it's called.
Malaria, is it?
No, it's not. It's not malaria. It's
mosquitoes.
Hang on. Tsetse fly disease. Sleeping sickness.
Yep, that's.
What's it called? Sleeping?
Sleeping sickness. It's caused by microscopic parasites of the species, which is the tsetse fly. It is usually transmitted by it, which is found in only sub-Saharan Africa. And the sleeping sickness is,
Wow.
let's see, to be a little bit more specific, what sleeping sickness is, it's a tropical, it's tropical disease caused by parasitic protozoans that are transmitted by the bite of the tsetse fly. It causes fever, chills, pain in the limbs, and anemia, and eventually affects the nervous system, causing extreme lethargy and eventually death.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
it's a very deadly disease.
Yeah.
So if you get bitten by a tsetse fly, and if you don't receive medical attention immediately, you're not only going to go through a world of hurt, you're going to die.
Yeah.
It's a deadly disease. You don't want to get sleep. If the fly is bad, the sleeping sickness is worse.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, drop my phone. Sorry.
That's just, I mean, even like the common house fly here in Ireland, I will zap it up in 2 seconds. I don't do flies. I have a fear of flies.
Yeah.
And people say to me, Jenny, you've got so many spider webs in your house. Yes, I do. I know they're not going. They're staying.
Yeah.
Like I've got spider webs in my house and I like them.
Oh, Robert said, was the stuff made as a comedy version of the Blob? I'm not sure if it might have drawn some inspiration from the Blob, but I think what they were trying to do with that is go for more like poking at the idea of selling something that could be hazardous to health, like its take on the fast food craze, and now it can cause some bad results. But I don't know, like I feel like the way they started off the stuff was just like, yeah, I thought it was kind of dumb, like with the character, how the stuff was like discovered, like, oh, a white substance just emerged from the ground, I'm just gonna dip my finger and put it in my mouth. Like, really?
Yeah,
it's so dumb. But yeah, we're gonna have to wrap this up. So
yeah, it's starting to get pretty late. Well, you should tell very quickly about the ending of that movie, just because you didn't say anything about the ending.
Wait, you're breaking up.
Sorry, yeah, I noticed that too. It was breaking up on my side. Just before you go, you should really tell quickly about the ending of that movie.
About the ending of the birds?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the ending, they just drive their way to get Melanie some help after being attacked by those birds. Driving, just going off into an uncertain future. You don't know if they're gonna make it to safety. You don't know what causes the birds to attack. Never answered.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, wow. Now,
it's that kind of ending. To why they did it, unprovoked attack.
Yep, you don't know.
I actually looked at some comments because I found the video of the ending, and there's some pretty good comments. This is actually that people say involving the ending, because they drive off to a uncertain future and destination, and someone here says, and I remember reading this for the first time, it gave me goosebumps actually when I read this. One person said, one of the best endings. You would expect answers or resolve for humanity. Instead, you just get a warning. Feel free to leave. We don't need to fight you anymore. After all, this is our world now. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Love it.
It really is, because there really is no winning in the end of this. The birds basically have taken over. It's their territory now. It's no longer theirs.
She attacked when she kind of slapped the bird away or whatever she did at the beginning of the movie. It was collaboration after that. And like I said, when I just jumped on, I get it. I know it. I totally get it, because these birds are very, very intelligent. And I think Hitchcock got it like spot on when he did what he did to show the intelligence of these birds. I'm not stupid, and they will get it together, and that's why when I had left my house a day or two later, after watching this movie and so on, I looked at these birds thinking to myself, oh, the dream, oh my god, it's like, what the frick,
Yeah.
sorry, I like you, I love you. It's like what you said, Nick.
Oh, Chantel's on from South Africa. Good to see you, Chantel.
Chantel, I'm still up. Chantel is probably getting out of bed at this stage. Chantel.
She probably is.
Oh, she is. She totally is. She's about an hour ahead of us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Chantel, did you get my voicemail earlier today? Or yesterday, should I say? I know. We like voicemail each other.
Here's someone else here says about the ending. This is a weird ending. It is sort of anticlimactic, but it is really a good looking shot. Movies would have happy endings, driving off into the sunset, but this one had them slowly driving into uncertainty. There's sort of a happy ending as the family are all together, but the birds will just keep attacking. There's no real hope.
Good.
Oh. Yeah.
When the birds just sat on the lines and watched them driving off.
Yeah, and they back up as they're driving. Like you think that they'd be running over them. They're thinking, no, these birds are they may be making all these screeches, but these birds are intelligent now. They are smart.
Yeah.
Yes, it's basically them sending a warning to them. Because here, one final comment I'll read. Someone says here they love the ending, love how eerie it is. This place still exists, but you can never go back. So, and ironically enough, that wasn't going to be originally the ending. There was originally supposed to be an extended sequence of them driving off, which unfortunately it wasn't filmed, but there are sketches of the extended ending, which would have featured them driving across the landscape, and they see just these thousands, if not millions, of birds covering the entire landscape. Like there's like no spot whatsoever that it is clear of birds, and it was also said to be much more graphic, in which they see dead bodies laying around, more dead bodies with their eyes pecked out, or people that were pecked in the head, or just a gruesome sight. And eventually they drive across the Golden Gate Bridge, and that too has been taken over by it's like it has that apocalyptic appearance to it.
Gone. And then the next people that move into it has no idea what they are embarking.
Oh yeah.
So they move in, and you have a school, you have a home, and so on, and until they annoy a bird, and then it happens. That should have been the second part, not the remake of the same movie. No, Chantel, let me tell you, girl. Chantel, I've got a story to tell you later. I have a story to tell Chantel later. I really do, about my non-sleeping. But so if they had had a new family move in, and the same thing happened, but not the same movie and the same remake, but don't remake the same movie of the old version, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Kind of like bring a bird with them, bring a family pet with them, like a family bird pet.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
do from that onwards, but don't kind of like do the same thing in color. It's just
I feel like The Birds is just a film that's just that's perfect exactly the way it is. It doesn't need a sequel. It doesn't need a remake. No.
Yep. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So that's a note I'm going to end this episode on. So So this is going to be our stopping point for this episode. So thank you everybody for watching, and thank you so much, Jen, for joining us.
Thank you.
I have to make my announcements quickly just before we get off, and so for just to make this relatively quick. So let me think here. Okay, so for tomorrow, I officially come back with my show, The Nick Files. I know I said that a few weeks ago originally with the Halloween special I made, but it took a while for me to really put this next slideshow together. Plus, the reason why it took so long is also the office chair that I used broke, so I had to wait until it had to get repaired before I could get the slideshow going. I mean, continue on with the slideshow. So what I'm going to be talking about for Nick Files tomorrow is the Harrisville haunting, or if you guys aren't familiar with that, it's more known as the Conjuring house, if you will. I can definitely see a two-parter coming out of this. I mean, I don't know if I'll have the entire slideshow even then still completed, but I should have enough to last for an entire hour. And yes, Robert, a chair is important. It has to be a comfortable chair too, because I mean, I have a few other chairs in my office, but they would not be as comfortable for me to sit in like for several hours to put these documents and presentations together.
Yeah.
So,
and I should mention, as far as chairs, the one that I use, this is the only chair I intend on sitting in, because this is actually my my grandpa Don Elmy, who I was named after, worked as an artist his entire life, just did paintings. And he did that right here in this chair. This is his work chair.
oh,
Wow.
nice.
Really?
So, yep, I honor him now. After he died, I started honoring him by doing all my creative work from the very seat where he did his creative work.
That's so amazing. I love that stuff. I love it. I love that you're sitting on history.
Oh yes.
That's amazing.
But yeah, like I said, that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow for Nick Files. Like I said, I got a feeling it's going to be a two-parter. And of course, for Thursday, as you guys could probably already expect, well, for starters, actually, Lois will still do criminals and villains, but she already knows that I will be unavailable since it's Thanksgiving. So she's going to have someone else substitute for me until I come back next week. And also later that same day, too, because it's Thanksgiving, there is no supernatural talk. We'll be back next week. And then Friday, I'm also going to be back on the Frighteners, which, Jenny, I was telling you earlier when Simply Spooky was on, they wanted you to come on. That's what I was referring you to.
I had no idea, because I was doing this bloody treat behind me. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I going on? What am I doing?
Yeah, the Frighteners. It's we joke around on the show. We just have a lot of fun with it. It's not, the funny thing is that Jeremy did actually want to have the Frighteners on the network, but the problem is there's already a show that runs that same time. So unfortunately, unless she changes her timing, there's no way we can get it on. So it's just it's a show that at least broadcasts on their network, the Simply Spooky Network. So there's going to be a couple things coming up. So yeah, I got a show tomorrow. We got Frighteners on Friday. Jenny, hopefully you could join, but there will be like I said, Lois will be doing her show, but I won't be on for the Thursday shows though. So that's pretty much all the updates I have.
Can you imagine how much we're cramming in before we have November and December? And then before we know it, we are back into January again.
I know.
Whole shebang all over again. And you think, we're having we're having a holiday break. And then all of a sudden, January comes back in again. I've already booked locations for April. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a break.
Joe, I didn't even realize you were still on.
Yep, she's been watching the whole time.
Wow.
Oh, Jill, happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, Jill. Yeah, so we're gonna.
Do we ever stop?
What?
We never stop. We never stop doing what we do. And you think, like I said, you think coming up to Christmas, we're going to have a break. And then here I am reorganizing my insurance for next year, my locations for next year, and things for next year. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I kind of think I might need to retire. And I said this to Nick before, I need to retire at some stage. Maybe. Yeah. I do it every week. I retire every week.
Right.
I know, but I never do.
Jenny, I got to ask really quickly, are you going to be part of the Christmas card exchange that Jeremy's doing?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Yes, I am part of it. Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah, Jeremy.
I'm getting my envelopes and my stamps ready to send off. I'm good.
Jeremy was asking me earlier today about that, if I was going to be part of the Christmas card, saying you said you wanted in. And literally, my response was, I was like, I am.
Do it. I have fabulous cards from fabulous people from around the world and from Unity and Paranormal,
We got a huge group this year. Did you hear how many?
Last year, I know.
Did you hear how many we have? Did you hear how many we have this year?
No, how many?
45.
Well, you see, now I'm going to have to buy and let me tell you, these stamps are not cheap here in Ireland. So I'm going to have to, I go to the post office every week, so I'm going to have to start buying books of stamps. I actually have books of stamps from last year. I know where they are, which is unusual.
Yeah, well, one thing I know for sure is be glad that the stamps are cheaper in Ireland, because over here in the U.S., I wish I could say the same.
They're not cheap here in Ireland. just crazy people. But I go into the post office every week, so I just buy stamps every week just in case I need to post over to. I know people in Chicago and so on, just to post over. And I'm going to post my dog over to you, Nick, if she doesn't.
You should make like I don't know how they do. Wouldn't it be funny if you just made like one of those cards that makes all that, like a music track or something, and instead instead of that you have Hope snoring in the envelope and the card.
We could. I actually have to especially send it over to Jeremy because he just he actually said to me a few weeks ago, he goes, does she have a breathing problem? I'm like, no, that's just Hope snoring. Does she have a breathing problem? Like small dogs have breathing problems.
Yeah.
It's going back again. That's why I had to ask. Once I started hearing that snoring, I'm like, that's why I had to ask. Once she started snoring, I thought, aren't you going to send one of those cards that you can record and have the snore?
I'm gonna do something like that I can just to, and I normally send. Sorry, I'm hitting my microphone. I send cards over to people. When they open it up, it's full of glitter. The voicemails I get is blasphemy. Because they have to hoover up the floor because I've just sent. They open up a card and it's full of glitter, and they have to hoover up the floor. So if you all get a Christmas card from me, and it's filled with glitter, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I probably I've gotten a few cards like that.
Well, you're gonna get one from me like that too. Sorry, I'm done. Sorry, just saying.
I can't wait for the holidays. So we're gonna have to we're gonna end it here. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for joining us, Jen. It's great having you on here.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me again.
Well, yep. Well, of course, you're always welcome to come back.
Oh yes.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So to everybody, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And we'll see you next Tuesday with another one.
Take care.